The Astros are back home for a 3-game set with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Second baseman Jose Altuve continues to shine in his first All-Star season. While Dallas Keuchel takes the mound looking for the second win of his young career. So get up and cheer. Astros take on the Diamondbacks next on Fox Sports Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's the first of 3. It's Flashback Friday as the Astros meet the Arizona Diamondbacks. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. The Astros wore these nice uniforms you'll see this weekend. Last weekend they won 2 out of 3 in them, JD.
Well, if the clothes make the man, then perhaps the Astros will have a successful weekend against the Arizona Diamondbacks. It starts tonight with a matchup of a couple of rookie left-handers. Wade Miley having a tremendous year. He's the odds-on favorite now for the Rookie of the Year award in the National League. 12-8 record. His 3.02 ERA is the 11th best in the National League. He's up against Dallas Keuchel. These guys hooked up back in July in Arizona. The Diamondbacks won convincingly. Keuchel 1-4 with a 5.29 ERA, but you see here at home, he's been very, very good. 1-1 is ERA here at Minute Maid, 3.27.
Now at home in the blue and gold uniform, it's Keuchel taking on Miley. And we'll see the opener of this 3-game series and a lot of exciting things along the way tonight as the game comes your way in just a moment.
Group, our 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. As we look from Jeff Bagwell's Big Glove inside Minute Maid Park, where we'll have the first game of a 3-game set between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Houston Astros. It's coming up with the Astros on the field. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays are in the booth.
Thanks, Greg. And Dallas Keuchel's warming up. The D-backs come in having lost 8 of their last 12. They are 6-8 in the month of August. The Astros 6-27 since the All-Star break. But as you might have seen from Kevin and Steve before the game, playing better the last 6 games. Here's the Hyundai starting lineup for Arizona. Chris Young leads it off, the Houston native in center field, followed by rookie Jake Elmore at shortstop. Aaron Hill's at second base. And Paul Goldschmidt from the Woodlands is the cleanup man at first baseman. With Justin Upton in right field, Chris Johnson at third, Gerardo Parra in left, Will Nieves the catcher for Wade Miley.
Rookie left-hander Dallas Keuchel on the mound for the Astros tonight. Take a look at his recent work. Last 3, July 31st in Milwaukee, he got cuffed around, but quality work in his last 2 starts, both here at home, one against Washington, then no decision against Milwaukee as well.
Chris Young waiting, and he takes strike 1. He hit the big game-winning homer last night in St. Louis as the D-backs got back-to-back home runs in the 9th inning against Jason Mott to win it 2-1. Young hits this one in the air off the end of the bat to left center field. Brandon Barnes over right in front of J-Max. 1 out.
Astros defense brought to you by the Home Depot. You saw Barnes and Maxwell out there. They're joined by Ben Francisco. He's over in right. Infield features Marwin Gonzalez at third tonight. Green and Altuve up the middle. Steve Pearce over at first. Jason Castro behind the plate. That is the Astros defense, and it's brought to you by Home Depot.
Now here's the young shortstop, Jake Elmore. Blues Brothers in town this weekend. There's ball 1 as he shows bunt. And he is 2 for 5 as a major leaguer, making his 2nd career start tonight.
He's on a mission from God. He's in like 380 down in AAA.
Yes. And apparently his manager there, Brett Butler, former Dodger great who played with several teams, Giants, said he was the best number 2 hitter he has managed. He walked a lot. And so getting the shot at shortstop right now. Stephen Drew bats left. He doesn't usually play against left-handed pitching. And John McDonald, a right-handed hitting shortstop, has a sore elbow. So that puts Elmore in the lineup. And he takes a strike.
A late-round draft pick. He's 25 years of age. He's played all over the field in the minor leagues, all the infield positions and a little outfield as well. So a versatile guy. More second base than anything, working his way up through their system, but tonight he's charged with playing short.
He's an Arizona Stater. Born in Dothan, Alabama. Fouls that one back, and it's a 3-ball, 2-strike count. He's the 2nd Arizona State player to appear with the D-backs. Willie Bloomquist has done that earlier.
Dallas last time out threw strike 1 a high percentage of the time. So 70% of the time he threw strike 1. That was a real key for him. Keeping those walks down. Obviously, that's an important thing for any pitcher, but especially for a finesse guy, because the whole key to this deal here, if you're a guy like Dallas, is throw strike 1 and then spend as little time in the strike zone as possible. Get the jump on the hitter, get them kind of in swing mode, and then tease them with pitches just off the edges and try to get them to offer at that.
Passed it down to the youngster. Ground ball at the middle. Tyler Green can't get it in his glove. And Elmore's aboard. Green took several steps and then just didn't secure the ball. So D-backs have a man on with 1 out.
Green ranging out behind the bag here. Has it go off the heel of his glove. It would have been a very difficult play to finish off anyway, but it goes as an error.
It's his 6th error of the year. And it brings up Aaron Hill. 290 for Hill, 14 homers, 49 runs batted in. And he has hit for the cycle in 2 different games this year. 2nd player in modern history to do it twice in a season. Babe Herman did it in 31. Hill looks at ball 1. Hill moved into the number 3 spot in this lineup when Jason Kubel was scratched with a stiff neck, and Kubel had the 2 home runs against Keuchel. He wound up hitting a 3rd home run in that game against Houston in Arizona. So he just really went off in that series. But Hill's capable of hitting for power as well. He has a 36 home run season in the major leagues. That's off the end of the bat as well. Now Barnes legs it in, and Tyler Green gets back. 2 outs.
Fastball, cut fastball, curveball, and changeup for Keuchel. And now the dangerous Paul Goldschmidt, who has just worn out left-handed pitching this year. Here's the changeup, and you see Hill way out in front, inducing that lazy pop-up to short.
Goldschmidt, with 18 homers, 63 runs batted in, a .298 average, has just punished left-handers. .380 with an OPS of 1,200 plus against lefties, and that's tops in the major leagues. 1223. Strike one to Goldschmidt. He went 2 for 7 against the Astros in Arizona.
So we have to assume there's a fairly large Paul Goldschmidt fan contingent here tonight.
Yes. Paul, 24 years old. He was born in Wilmington, Delaware. Played for a 5A state championship team in the Woodlands. In high school with Kyle Drabeck in 06, then went on to Texas State. Led Division I in runs batted in with 87 in 09. So very good credentials, getting him an 8th round draft slot in 09 by the D-backs. No balls, 2 strikes. Last year he hit a pinch homer against the Astros in the 9th inning with 2 outs at Arizona of Mark Melancon. Goldschmidt swings at it, and Keuchel gets a strikeout to end his first inning with no runs, no hits, an error, and a man left. And now Wade Miley hits the mound in just a moment. At Minute Maid Park, come up with a Hyundai starting lineup for Brad Mills, beginning with Jose Altuve at second base. Tyler Green plays shortstop tonight. Steve Pearce batting third is at first base. The cleanup man is left fielder Justin Maxwell. It's Ben Francisco in right field, Brandon Barnes in center, Jason Castro the catcher, Marwin Gonzalez at third, Dallas Keuchel the pitcher.
Well, the Diamondbacks run their own rookie left-hander out there, Wade Miley, and you look at his recent work. Not so good last time. Didn't make it through 5 innings. Allowed 4 runs on 9 hits. Previous 2 very good though. 6 innings no earned against Atlanta, and then that solid effort against the Dodgers. Having one fine season. Fastball, slider, curveball, and a real good changeup. We saw him in the desert about a month ago, and he was really good. He punched out 9 and really attacked the Astro hitters all night long.
He won the game pitching against Keuchel 12-3. Altuve at 305 after his recent surge bangs out another hit. He's been a hitting machine. That's hit number 135 of the season. He's 8th in the league in hits. And he's had 3 3-hit games in the last 4. Getting off and running again.
He turns out more hits than name your favorite pop group.
Okay.
And leave that open to fill in the blank answer. You can answer any way you like. I'll go with the Spinners.
Spinners. Tyler Green at .231 with 5 homers, has 20 runs batted in, hitting .350 in 6 games as an Astro. And he smacks one between third and short into left field. The Astros get something going against the talented rookie. First and second, nobody out on the Green single.
Three pitches, 2 base runners. That is one fine ratio for the Astro hitters here so far. Attacking Miley, maybe they learned something against him in that start in Phoenix. Defensively, they set up this way. Upton in right, Young in center, Parra in left. CJ, Elmore, Hill, Goldschmidt on the infield. Only Evis, recently acquired from the Colorado Rockies, is behind the plate tonight.
Now Steve Pearce comes up against Miley, who's from Hammond, Louisiana, went to Southeastern Louisiana. Miley, 25 years old, an 08 draft choice after the first round. Takes a look at ball 1. Miley came up last year for 7 starts and 1 relief appearance with the D-backs. Steve Pearce has hit lefties well, .318 overall with 8 runs batted in. And the Astros are looking for hitters who can hit lefties well.
Yeah, well, dead last in the major leagues with a .207 batting average against southpaws.
Maxwell's on deck. That makes it 1-1 for Miley.
Yeah, there's that changeup I talked about. He really sells it. The hand speed, everything about it looks like the fastball. And then he takes about 8-9 miles off of it from his heater. That was just a dandy there. Even though I had a little cutting action in on a right-handed hitter, still a very effective pitch.
Missing outside. He goes to a 2-1 count on Pearce. Pearce has 11 hits in his last 33 at-bats. Named off waivers from Baltimore in late July by the Astros. He's gotten a fair amount of playing time. It's 3-1 now. Game number 120 for the Astros this season. And the first of 3 between the Astros and Arizona. Just a brief 3-game homestand. The Astros are bouncing around the country with short trips and homestands during this stretch. It's a smash on a line caught by Chris Johnson. No double play because Altuve knew exactly what to do. It's out number 1.
Well, 2 knocks and a line drive. The Astros getting good swings here at Miley. Unfortunately for Pearce, his is right at CJ down there at third base. He took a look but had no play.
It's Justin Maxwell coming up next. .239, 12 homers, 37 runs batted in for Justin. He was 1 for 6 in the Cubs series. The Astros were here for a week, then they went to Chicago for 3, back home for 3. Now they'll be going to St. Louis and New York. So hopping all around the various cities during this stretch here in August. And there's ball 1. Maxwell's another of those who has good numbers against lefties. .293 is his batting average for 22 hits and 75 at bats against southpaws.
Put 2 or 3 runs on the board here early would really be nice for Dallas Keuchel. That's one of those statements that we make up here that people go, yeah, well, obviously. but I think even more so for a guy like Keuchel because of the nature of his style, as I talked about earlier, get ahead and then expand and get hitters to chase. And I think when clubs are behind early, there's a tendency to expand the zone. Hitters get a little hitterish. And you could take advantage of that.
Maxwell takes that one, and it's 2-1.
First things first, they got to get the crooked number first.
Yeah. Right-handed hitters are hitting .254 against Miley compared to lefties .207 against him. Maxwell lays off, and now he has a favorable 3-1 count.
Nice job there. Again, having seen him once before, watching video, they got a sense of how he likes to get after hitters. And 2-1 there. Maxwell was not selling out on a fastball. Miley threw him a pretty good changeup, but just unable to lay off. Now we'll see if Miley challenges with a fastball. Big pitch coming here.
He's walked only 26 in 137 innings this year. There's a rocket into center field. Altuve broke back to the bag. He'll get to third base and be stopped there, and the bases are loaded. Goldschmidt couldn't stop it, but it trickles on to the catcher, Nieves. On the third hit of the inning, J-Max hit a line shot by Hill.
One good at-bat after another here for the Astros. 3 base hits and a line out. And again, you got to freeze on the line. Can't afford to get doubled off. Altuve can only make it over to third base, but a big opportunity now for Ben Francisco. Talked about Miley and his low walk. Everything about his numbers really impresses. He's only allowed 10 home runs all year. He's been hard to run on. He's a heck of a hitter himself.
Yeah. Francisco with Jake Elmore and Aaron Hill at double play depth as the base is loaded and 1 out. He takes it at strike 1 to Ben at 241 with 2 homers. He's driven in 5. Went 0 for 4 in the series at Wrigley. 3 grand slams for the Astros this season. Barnes on deck. Good pitch to swing at, but he fouled it, and it's 0-2 now. Miley came right out of the gate, 3-0 in April with a 1.29 ERA. He's really not endured many bumps in the road. 1-2. He is 0-2 in August, but his ERA a respectable 3.48. So he has just been solid, and that got him all-star status. There's the situation. The Astros as a team hitting 149 with the bases loaded this year.
Ooh, my.
Yeah, 2-2.
Number 4. Thank you.
Kerwin Danley with the call.
And that's the reputation on Kerwin. More of a hitter's umpire. Doesn't give that low strike.
2-2 pitch looped, and Goldschmidt's there. Infield fly was called. 2 outs. And now it's up to Brandon Barnes. Brandon just picked up his first major league homer Monday night. And a pinch hit at bat at Wrigley Field. Miley leads all rookies and wins with 12. Lucas Harrell is second with 10. Miley is second in ERA for a rookie, 3.02 in the National League. And now here's a big early point in this game. Can the Astros push through against Miley? Barnes has a 188 average. He's driven in 3 with that 1 homer. And it rolls out to Hill. Over to Goldschmidt, and Miley's out of bases loaded, 1 out trouble. And it's 0-0 after 1. Back in familiar surroundings, also with the uniforms. Comfortable fit for you to be
familiar.
Down there.
This isn't familiar. I don't usually sit up here. I'm behind home plate, but not normally 40 feet above it.
No, but it's a pretty good seat, isn't it?
It's not bad.
And the game looks pretty easy from here, doesn't it?
It's gotten easier when I watch on TV, for sure. Every game I watch, I feel like I can get 3 hits.
Upton leads it off here in the second inning, and this has been so enjoyable for us to be able to sit here with guys like yourself during the season, coming back on these Flashback Fridays. Guys wearing the old uniforms that you wore back during some of those really good days in the Astrodome, and probably brings back a lot of nice memories to you as you've been talking with people since you've been here tonight.
I have. I've seen a bunch of people that I haven't seen or talked to in years in some cases.
You're working for the Padres now. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, my title is Special Assistant to Baseball Operations, which is kind of a broad brush. I do a little bit of everything. I do some coaching, especially with the catchers in spring training, and travel around to some of the minor league franchise or affiliates and work with the catchers there.
You know, when we were in San Diego, we saw Loretta because he's got the similar title as you. And I asked him, I said, "Where's Brad?" And he said, "He's hanging out on the beach somewhere. You're back east, I think." I said, "What kind of a gig is this?"
It's a nice gig because it allows a little bit of freedom.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a nice program you got.
I like to take a vacation here or there, and let me tell you something. He's one to talk.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Now the new ownership will be taking over in San Diego, so you got a lot of new people to meet, right?
I haven't met any of them to this point, but I've been gone on the beach.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be an enjoyable situation for you to do a little baseball, mix that with some family time, and actually take some summer vacations after all those years of not being able to do that.
Absolutely right. I hadn't had a summer vacation since high school, and it was last summer was my first summer off, and did an RV trip. Liked it so much. We did another RV trip this summer. Spent some time at our place in Cape Cod. It's been fun. It really has. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Get recharged a little bit, don't you?
I'm over recharged.
So you're driving the rig. You're driving the RV.
I drove the RV, big 32-foot Class
Really?
A. Yeah.
Are you pretty good at maneuvering it?
Yeah, it wasn't a problem. I made it across the country last year.
Well, there's a pretty good resume right there. The time with the Astros, 97-8, traded away and then returned. 3-time Gold Glover. Only 10 guys in the history of the game caught more games than Brad Ausmus. I mean, that's to me, that's a remarkable number. When you look at that, that's a good haul, man. That's a good long run.
You're probably not into numbers like that, but now as you look at them, is it pretty amazing to you that you were able to catch all those games just because of the grind that it is for a catcher?
I think, Brownie, you were right with the first game, and I'm not too much into the numbers. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to play, and I think the biggest part of that is being fortunate enough to stay injury-free for the 99% of my career. I was hurt my last season, but for the most part, I was injury-free, and you got to have good genetics and a little bit of luck.
Well, that's true. You were extremely agile, but very good at blocking balls. But anybody can get hit with a foul ball and break a finger or something. That is some luck there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So when you were playing, when they did those player surveys and some of that other stuff, guy most likely to manage, you were always at or near the top of that list. Is that something? Is that in the works? Something you'd like to do? Can you see yourself managing at some point in the future?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't like to do it. You know, I've always said there's only 30 managerial jobs. You'd have to actually get the opportunity to manage a club. You know, that side of the game is something I've enjoyed. I enjoyed it as a catcher, the cerebral side of the game, the chess match within the baseball game. So I won't say I haven't thought about it or haven't entertained the idea, but I don't know if the opportunity will arise.
Well, you could be another Mike Matheny.
Yeah, Mike, that would have been the guy I would have voted for most likely to be managed.
Well, you guys were. A lot of times it was you and he were 1 and 2.
I was happy for Mike. You know, I always enjoyed playing against Mike. He was well respected, which I think is important by his teammates, and obviously a smart baseball guy.
And I remember you said one time when somebody asked you about managing, well, the minor league bus trips, might be a stopper on that, and that's understandable. But Matheny didn't have to go through that.
No, Matheny and Robin Ventura. I hope they meet in the World Series.
That would be fun. There's a broken bat looper caught by Altuve, and we'll check those fans, see everybody's all right down there. And that's out number 1. Can I ask you a question here after this play, Brad, about blocking the plate? There's CJ with his bat flying.
No, we're okay. Everybody's good.
Okay. With the injury to Buster Posey last year, there's been so much discussion now about catchers. Should they block the plate? Should they not block the plate? You did it more like a middle infielder, where you'd make a swipe tag and you really kept your body out of harm's way. Is that what you advocate when you're teaching these other young catchers?
No, I think a lot of times what happens is the throw either puts you in harm's way or doesn't. You're moving to the throw. There are times where you have you have the luxury of catching the ball and then blocking the plate, but that's rare. Most plays at the plate are bang bang, and the throw kind of takes you either into or out of harm's way. The Buster Posey incident, I think, when I saw it, I looked at it. It was a clean play. That Cousins was trying to score. It wasn't dirty. He wasn't trying to hurt him. It was unfortunate that Buster Posey, a young catching prospect, coming off a great year with a bright future, was hurt. But that's part of the game of baseball.
Is there a collision in your career that stands out?
There
was smoked. Was there one or two?
There was one that really stands out. It happened here against the Milwaukee Brewers. Scott Pasednik was on second base. There was a base hit to center field, Carlos Beltran. So it must have been 2004. Yeah. And Pasednik came around third. Carlos's throw was a little bit to the right of home plate. I caught it, turned back, and Pasednik caught me in the side of my mask, and I was actually unconscious for 5 or 10 seconds. But I held on to the ball.
Yeah, I thought you did. The ground out for out number 2. That was an amazing play. Didn't he kind of launch head first?
Yeah, he came. I believe it was a 2-1 game. Was the final score. So, and it might have been in 2004. Did we make the playoffs by a game? So I'm blaming myself for us making playoffs.
Speaking of 2004 and that amazing run you guys put together. You take it to about this time of that year. Well, you were rolling by now, but late July, early August, nothing special. And it just proves the value of a long baseball season and how things can come together, doesn't it?
It is, and really it was similar in 04 and 05 where we made those runs.
05 was the 15-30 start, right?
Right.
Yeah. That was remarkable.
Nieves taking ball 1. It really, I think, taught a lot of us things about baseball, that you don't necessarily give up on a team that gets off to a pretty rotten start as it did in 05 or just so-so as it did in 04. But that is really against all odds, the way things come together like that 2 years in a row.
It is. I think it actually made a number of organizations pause over the next few years when the trading deadline rolled around, because Houston had in 04 and 05 such tremendous second halves and pushed all the way not only into the postseason, but in the case of 05 to the World Series. I think the following 2 or 3 years, organizations pause at the trading deadline and say, hey, are we sure we want to give up?
Exactly. Ball 2 to Nieves, 2-1, and now with the added wild card, do you like that?
I love it. I actually do love it. I had heard on a radio talk show probably 3 years ago someone mentioned the one-game wild card playoff, and I love the idea. Mainly love the idea not only because it draws attention to the game, do or die one game, but it forces the wild card teams to use their best pitcher. And there should be some drawback to being the wild card. True. And they're forced to use the best available pitcher to win that game and move on.
2 balls, 2 strikes. So there's all kinds of incentive if there's a game or two separating the division leader and the wild card leader to try to win that division. You're right. It's going to be totally different.
Trying to think of '98 and how that with the Padres, they won the West that year. Is that or were they a wild card?
Oh boy, I think they won the West that year, JD.
Let's see. They ended up playing Atlanta. Who did Atlanta play?
Let's see. Can't recall.
I can't recall either.
Because you guys won 102 ball games.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that was, for me, that was the best team in the history of the franchise. I mean, the way, at least the team at the end of the year, after Randy came over, and that was an unbelievable team.
I agree. I think that was the one team that the other 5 playoff teams were concerned about having to face. We had pitching, we had power, we had speed, defense. It was certainly the best team I've been a part of.
Teammates. Didn't have the Garner magic, but
right. No, Dirk. We had Dirk.
That's right.
Teammates, now that you can look back on it, who were some of your favorites here?
Certainly Jeff and Craig, Mike Hampton, Roy, Wade Miller. There's been so many that.
You know, Wade Miller did have some outstanding years here. People kind of tend to forget about him around here, but he did.
Yep. Jeff Blum was another guy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a strikes out? We'll be back with Brad Ausmus in just a moment.
When these same 2 teams play at 6:05 and the first 10,000 fans will get a Jeff Bagwell Greatest Moments bobblehead presented by Champion Energy Services. The bobblehead commemorates Bagwell's 400th career home run. Root now and get those tickets at Astros.com. Let's go back up to the booth. Brownie, JD, and Brad Ausmus.
Thanks, Bart. Some retired numbers there, and it was nice to see the late Joe Niekro honored today with a Walk of Fame. Very nostalgic time. Tells you you're getting a few years on you, Brad, right
Yeah. Somebody asked me why I was going to Houston. I said, well, I'm officially no longer a player because I'm throwing out a first pitch.
Well, of course, Baggy threw his out left-handed, so you could see the toll that this sport took on his right shoulder when he was here. They strike 1 to Jason Castro. Now, as you look at the young catchers in the game today, do you have any guys you particularly think are people that you would admire as far as the way they catch and hit in today's game?
Yeah, there's a handful of catchers that I think are solid all the way around. Certainly Buster Posey, who we talked about, is one of them. Part of me hopes they don't move him to first base, but they may. I've always liked Carlos Ruiz, whose season is over now because of the injury. Brian McCann in Atlanta has really worked hard at his catching. He's always been able to hit. His catching has really come around. But there's some good catchers out there.
The kid, the Grandal kid that the Padres have, looks like he can swing it a little bit.
Yasmani Grandal. Yeah, he's rehabbing right now. He should be coming back soon. He's got big time power. good kid, hard worker.
There are those central standings in 1998. The Astros winning a franchise high 102 games that year. How was the unit to catch?
Were the Cubs the wild card team that year?
I'm still trying to look this up here and not finding it. I have an idea they were, yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Catching Randy, the unit.
It's easy.
Yeah.
You know, when someone has that type of stuff, there's not a lot of guessing going on.
Caught by Parra in left. And Gonzalez lines out for out number 2. Well, that was such an exciting time, though. He came in and just lit it up, and at the time everybody was energized by this acquisition, and sure, you parted with a lot of talent, but that's one thing that good teams have to do sometimes, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah, I don't think there would be a GM in the game who wouldn't have made that trade. You know, we thought it would put us over the top, and unfortunately the Padres stopped that dream.
Keuchel takes a look at strike 1.
I'll never forget the first game he pitched in the Astrodome, though. The standing ovation he got when he walked to the mound just to warm up.
Yeah, people, the city was alive, man. Well, and then from there forward, I mean, it was such a great run all the way through the 05 season.
It really was. There were some good baseball teams playing here.
They'll get the baseball for Dallas Keuchel, first major league hit.
Well, we talked earlier about what a good hitter Miley was. Keuchel was a pretty good swing right there.
Now Jose Altuve comes up. Have you seen much of Altuve this year, Brad?
I have not. I haven't seen him. I've certainly read the stories about his stature, and despite his stature, how good of a player he is. And I know he's on the All-Star team. We have a guy playing for us in San Diego who's close to Altuve in terms of height.
Yeah.
Alexi Amarista.
Yeah. Altuve claims he's taller. I'm not sure. We need to get him to stand back to back.
Marisa's a pretty good little player.
He is.
So.
He's got a little, for someone his size especially, he's got some thump in his bat, too.
I believe we witnessed that, J.D.
Grand slam, didn't he?
Yeah. He certainly did. In the air to the right fielder, Upton. And in the second inning, it's no runs a hit, and we thank Brad Ausmus for joining us. Brad, always great to see you. Thanks
Brownie, JD,
see you down the road, man. Thanks.
All right.
Before we do the Progressive Fan of the Game, and our Progressive Fan of the Game has her last opportunity to see the Astros live before leaving the country. Kim Shippey and her father Glenn, where are you going?
We're going to Africa, yes, Ecuador, and it's in South America.
And you're going to Ecuador because?
This old man wants to retire.
Oh!
Well, you know, it's a very nice place. It's climate is so much better. It's cool. You don't have to burn up like Texas heat, and there's just so many opportunities down there for me. I can do like missionary work, and the college down there is better. So I'm just opening a lot of doors for me.
Well, that's great. Broaden your horizons a little bit. Will you just continue school right down there?
Well, I'm homeschooled, so I'll continue with that, and hopefully I'll go to college down there.
But your father, Glenn, you've been an Astros fan how long?
For 50 years.
50 years. You started in the back in the Colt 45 days?
I did, yeah. We used to sit in the stadium out there and burn up.
So this is going to be a lot of fun for you to bring your daughter here, although sadly for the last time, see the team live anyway.
Well, that's true, but we'll probably be back every year, and maybe we'll come in a time we can catch a game.
Well, good for you, and best of luck to both of you as they go to Ecuador, guys, but they're going to take their Astros gear with them, correct?
Yes, of course.
And flaunt that up there in Ecuador, and of course they'll take their progressive bag of stuff as being our fan of the game. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Very good. Thanks, Bart. Two-hopper to Tyler Green. And he throws out the pitcher, Wade Miley, for out number 1 here in the 3rd inning of a scoreless game. Well, we checked during that conversation with Brad Ausmus, and it was the Chicago Cubs we couldn't come up with. They were the playoff opponent of the Atlanta Braves that year.
Oh, and by virtue of the Astros, you couldn't play, the wild card team can't play the division winner.
Right.
At least they couldn't back then. See, if the rules were the way they are now, the Astros would have played the Cubs. Right?
Well.
Best record plays the wild card team now, right? Regardless of division.
Let's go back and have a do-over.
Yeah. Bad rule.
Chris Young from Bel Air High School looks at ball 1. He led off the game with a fly ball to center field. D-backs are 5th in the league in runs scored, 530. Of course, they have that enormous offensive ballpark. 2 balls, no strikes. On the road, they are 28-33. Just lost 2-3 in St. Louis, but rescued that one last night. Well, back and it's 2-1. They're only 5.5 games out in their division.
Seems like they've been a very streaky team.
Yes.
The Diamondbacks, and off to a slow start, then they caught fire. Now they've backed off, and there you see a list of some pretty impressive alumni from Bel Air High School.
Boy. Liner left field goes foul. Bel Air's been cranking out the talent for a while now.
A good bunch there. Okafor could not hit a slider, though.
Neither could Michael Jordan. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's a pop-up. Tyler Green comes in. 2 outs for Dallas Keuchel. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Now it's Elmore coming up for the 2nd time. He reached on an error by Green in the 1st. During the Diamondbacks' 8 losses in their last 12 games. During those 12 games, they've averaged only 3.75 runs per game. So it does seem that they've been somewhat streaky this year. And they are 6-8 in the month of August. Not exactly a push toward a playoff berth, but still they're right in the thick of things.
The Dodgers just got big news the other day when Melky Cabrera was suspended for the rest of the year. It's like making a trade. It's like improving your own club when a player that good goes down.
That's a good point. You know, people are saying that really puts the pressure on Hunter Pence to come through now without Cabrera. Bouncer back to Keuchel. Gives him a 1-2-3 third. And he has held the D-backs without a hit for the first 3. It's scoreless.
As we head to the third, holy Toledo, the Astros are having a Blue Star Gala saluting Hall of Fame broadcaster Milo Hamilton. Join us here at Minute Maid Park as we celebrate Milo on Tuesday, October 16th. There will be a cocktail reception, entertainment, and dinner. Your sponsorship of this event benefits the Astros in Action Foundation, so reserve your table today by going to astros.com/community. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. Milo hardly work over by the Blue Star in the radio booth. Tyler Green showing bunt, taking ball one. He smacked a single between third and short in the first inning when the Astros loaded the bases with one out, but then Miley got Francisco and Barnes to get out of that bases loaded jam. Little roller goes up the first base line and turns foul. And it's a 1-ball-1-strike count.
Yeah, and that's you always regret missing that big first inning opportunity when you got a pitcher on the ropes. He hasn't quite settled in, and Astros had that big opportunity to let Miley off the hook. The type of guy, the way he's thrown the ball this year, you could easily see him settling in and stringing some zeros now.
Yes, sir. Now his catcher, Will Nieves, waiting for him, giving him a little extra time after that little dash over to make sure the ball was foul. Miley was not in the original starting rotation of the D-backs, but he moved in, and this is start number 21 for him. So he's been a starter almost all year. They've had Daniel Hudson down with Tommy John surgery. That opened it up for Miley to move in. They've also used Trevor Bauer, who's back at AAA Reno now. And Josh Colmenter was number 3 in that rotation when the season started, but he's not in the rotation now. Pat Corbin is, and he'll pitch tomorrow night. Another lefty. Pearson Maxwell to follow Green, who takes it for a ball. And it's 2-2. Tigers look very good in an Astros uniform. Fresh start for him after the trade brought him here from St. Louis. This time Miley wins the battle and gets a strikeout, number 2.
And it's the good changeup from Miley. You see Green way out in front.
Arizona pitching staff ranks 9th in ERA in the National League at 3.94. They've done well at limiting the walks. Second fewest walks in the majors. Strike to Pierce, who crushed a line drive right at Chris Johnson on a 3-1 count in the first inning. So that was a bit of bad luck that could have given the Astros some scoring. No balls, 2 strikes to Pierce. Miley began the season ranked the 9th best prospect by the D-backs. Very good pitcher in college with 199 strikeouts. He led the Southland Conference in 2008. Now ball foul, keeps it at no balls, 2 strikes. And this year he's become the first rookie pitcher since Harvey Haddix in 1953 to have at least 11 wins and 11 hits before August.
How about that?
It's a bit of trivia.
There's 12 wins, a rookie record for the Diamondbacks. They haven't been around all that long. 90, 98?
97.
97?
Well, it might have been 98. We'll have to check on that. But he was picked as a reserve on the All-Star team. First D-backs rookie to participate in the Midsummer Classic.
1998, they were 65-97.
Okay.
Finished 33 games out. And then in 1999, they won it all. 100 wins that year.
Steve Sparks was talking about his experience with the Diamondbacks. Good article by David Barron in the Chronicle about that today. Fly ball to center, and Chris Young moves over.
Now they won the division in '99. They won the World Series in 2001 when Gonzo broke the Yankees' heart.
Gonzo's next door.
Yeah, he is. Still there, breaking more hearts. Here's a panel looking at some Rookie of the Year candidates. Miley, the prohibitive favorite right now, but I tell you what, if Lucas Harrell continues to throw the ball the way he has, and Miley were to backslide a little bit, Lucas would get a lot of votes. Fires has been very impressive for Milwaukee. Harper, after that great start, has slowed down.
Luis Gonzalez doing Diamondback TV for this series. Well, it's really bringing back memories to have Brad here and Gonzo.
And for Hampy to walk in the door.
Hampy lives in the Phoenix area. 1 ball, 1 strike. Diamondbacks swept the Astros in Phoenix, and they outscored them in that series 33-13. In the air to center, Young makes it a 1-2-3 third, and it's scoreless after 3. Great to have her with us tonight as she made the remarks to the fans and media assembled there, and she's running the Niekro Foundation now, and just a staunch supporter of that cause for aneurysm research, which unfortunately claimed your dad, but it was a big moment for not only for your family, but for many Astros fans who really treasured the contribution he made to Houston baseball.
Thank you. Thank you. It was definitely an honor to be here. Absolutely. I've been waiting a long time to see that number on the ground. So now we just have to see it up in center field.
Right.
I'm not giving up on that one.
Small steps, right? Well, Joe would appreciate a well-pitched game like this one. He pitched so many himself. And just in addition to what he did, the numbers and the big games he won, the type of person he was, that lives on in the work that your foundation is doing right now, helping other people.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's really great to see such a tragedy be turned into a positive situation by being able now to help so many others, like you said.
Yeah. You've had functions all around in the cities where he played. Tell us what your next function is going to be for the foundation.
My next function is actually going to be on the 25th of August, so next Saturday. I will be in Tampa, close to our hometown, and we're doing a brain aneurysm awareness day with the Rays. So although he didn't play for the Rays, he is from that area in Central Florida, so I'm excited to do that.
Yeah. First hit of the ball game for a D-back. It comes from Aaron Hill, past the diving Altuve. Yep. Hangs the ground.
Not many get by. He's been really good out there this year.
He has been good. You know, you think about an Altuve, one of the smallest players to play the game. Your dad learning the knuckleball and finding excellence with that after struggling prior to learning that pitch. And that's what endures so many people to this game of baseball. Here's Goldschmidt hitting into a 6-4-3 double play. And that's why we find it so attractive as fans, right?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I was going to ask how tall that guy is. Is he like 5'5"?
5'5", yeah. 5'5". Yeah. How about that? Yeah, it's just been so much fun to watch him, and he's become an all-star.
Yeah, he's doing great. He really is. It's good to see him out there.
2 outs now. We go to Upton, who walked earlier in the second inning. You come back to Houston every now and then. Do you have any functions scheduled for the city of Houston?
Yes. Well, as a matter of fact, this morning I was meeting with the Astros in Action Foundation because it looks like we're going to partner up on the next knuckleball, which we've done for the past 3 years, and it's one of the foundation's largest events. And I think that this year we're actually going to join forces with Astros in Action, and instead of putting on an event that raises $500,000, we'll put on an event that raises a couple million and then share in the proceeds. So I'm really excited about that. Very, very excited about that.
That's big. Any time frame talked about yet?
Most likely it'll be in April. Yeah, so we'll continue to have the knuckleball each year, and it's really important for me to have it at the beginning of the season. Baseball is really exciting for the fans at the beginning of the season. I'm able to bring a lot more of the players at that time, so I think it's going to be sometime in April, definitely in the spring.
Great. 2-1 for Dallas Keuchel in the scoreless game here, working to Upton, who walked in the second inning. So where do you head? Do you leave tomorrow for somewhere, Natalie?
I go back to Arizona. Yes, I think it was 116 when I left. Probably be 116 when I get back. But I tell you, I have never glistened as much as I did today out there. It wasn't even close to 116 degrees, but it is so humid in this city.
It was warm.
Yes, it was. I told all the photographers to make sure that they photoshopped all of that glisten out of me.
And we have to do it outside.
Of course. I don't know why. I guess it costs more money to do it in the air condition. Who knows? But
well, we have to be close to where that plaque goes in the sun.
That's true.
Deep drive to center field. Barnes is back, and Barnes is there for the catch. Natalie, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
On a very meaningful day.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Natalie,
we'll see you in April.
We'll see you.
Yes. Thank you.
Nothing ball game. The Astros come up in the home fourth inning now. They had 3 singles in the first and a Dallas Keuchel 2-out single in the second inning. They've out-hit the D-backs 4-1, but no score. And Ben Francisco takes that one. It's ball 1 to open the home fourth inning. He popped to first with the bases loaded and 1 out in the first inning against Miley. Now bunts, and that's a fair ball touched by the pitcher Miley, and that's going to be a hit for Francisco. He tried a sliding play. Chris Johnson couldn't get there, but Francisco has bunted his way on to start the inning.
Popped it up a little bit, but pushed it out there towards third base and found a soft spot. Found a little soft spot in the defense with that pop-up bunt. Miley's probably lucky he didn't handle that one because he might have been inclined to make a throw and might have thrown it down the first base line.
Brandon Barnes comes up now. He hit the first pitch on the ground to the second baseman.
These guys could really get in CJ's head if they just started bunting down there. There you go.
Okay, come to think of it, it's strike one. Looked like he was trying to push that one the other way, because with a left-handed pitcher, that can be a good spot to hit also. Push it by the mound to his bare-handed side, but CJ's made 17 errors this year. He's leaning in toward the plate now. It's a big cut, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. The wild card is not a pretty picture for Arizona. Trailing by 6 in the wild card race for that second wild card spot, which is currently occupied by Pittsburgh, with Atlanta in the first wild card spot. So the division is more reachable. 5.5 games out there, and you see Atlanta and Pittsburgh.
And a big series in St. Louis this weekend. The Pirates are in St. Louis for the weekend, and they have a 2-0 lead. They scored 2 in the top of the 4th, and they're still batting. The Pirates are.
That was interesting with the Dodgers and Pirates last night. Bouncer, Chris Johnson diving. He gets up, throws to second for the force play on Francisco. Excellent play by Johnson to take care of out number 1. Barnes couldn't quite get it past him.
Get a good look at it here. CJ up on the balls of his feet, ready to react. And goes the short way to get the lead man.
And the stretch by Hill. Now Jason Castro, we mentioned earlier, left-handed hitters are hitting only .207 against Miley. So that's the test for Castro, who was called out on strikes in the second inning. And not too many left-handed hitters have been in the lineup against Miley this year. Yanks that one foul, strike 1. Jason said before the game tonight that his knee is feeling good after the time off, and he'll continue to work on strengthening it during the off season. And he said part of the problem with getting through this year after the knee surgery cost him all of last season was he had the foot injury in the Arizona Fall League, and that cost him time rehabbing the knee over last winter. So hopefully smooth sailing ahead prior to next year. 1-1.
Which takes us back to our conversation we had with Brad Ausmus when he was here in the second inning. The ability to catch as long as he did and stay as healthy as he was. And not till the end. He had back surgery toward the end of his career, but for a guy that caught as many games as he did every year, he was remarkably durable.
He really was. I mentioned that 2-0 lead for Pittsburgh. St. Louis coming up now in the bottom of the 4th inning, and 3 hitless frames for James McDonald of Pittsburgh so far against Jake Westbrook. It'll be interesting to see what the Pirates do at second base now with the dislocated finger injury to Neil Walker. Bouncer, Chris Johnson, he goes to second, and then Aaron Hill relays it on for a 5-4-3 double play. No runs, a hit, nobody left after 4. 0-0.
What do you drive? Kevin Eschenfelder back with you here at Minute Maid Park. Tomorrow, game 2 of this 3-game weekend set as Jordan Lyles goes to the mound for the Astros, looking for his 3rd win, and this would be his 18th big league start of the season. He gave up a couple of earned runs in 7 innings last time out, but still took the loss to the Milwaukee Brewers. Goes against Patrick Corbin, who is 4-4 with a 3.41 ERA. Our coverage begins at 5:30 with Astros Live. This has been your Mazda Game Break. Brownie, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. Chris Johnson is the batter. Doug Roquel talking with tomorrow night's starter, Jordan Lyles. Dallas Keuchel's thrown 8 of 14 first pitch strikes. CJ on an 0-2 pitch popped a second earlier. Hit a grand slam in his first game as a Diamondback after the trade. First Diamondback to do that. There's strike 1 to him. Chris has hit .330 in his last 22 games with 7 homers, 24 runs batted in. So Dallas Keuchel has been forewarned. Rolls over on this one, takes it to third base. Marwin Gonzalez, 1 out, and Keuchel looking very good in the early going.
CJ goes to the Diamondbacks. The Astros in return pick up a couple of prospects. Bobby Borchering, hitting .283 with 4 home runs in 15 games at Corpus Christi, and Mark Krause has already been called up to AAA, and well, he made a sudden impact with the long ball he first acquired. I believe he went deep in his first at bat in the Astros organization down at Corpus, but he's hitting better than 300, 5 home runs in 15 games. So a couple of power hitters coming this way. The Astros completed their deal with the Blue Jays, picking up the player to be named later was named yesterday. Another pitcher joins the fold.
Yeah, he's a guy who didn't sign until a year ago. Gerardo Parra takes strike 1. Those are the rules on trading players their first year in pro ball. You can't trade somebody until he's played for a year.
Cromer, correct?
Yes.
Pitcher by the name of Cromer, who's been assigned to Greenville. So, you know, he's down in the lower minor leagues. He's a young kid.
Parra has really lit it up against the Astros in his career. There's another one. A liner to left field. It dunks in. And he'll be held to a single. He was hitting .358 lifetime against the Astros coming into this game. Now 1 for 2 in this one.
Well, Keuchel's game really plays well against right-handed hitters for a lefty. And left-handed hitters are hitting .326 against Dallas so far this year. So I'm a little bit surprised that Kirk Gibson doesn't have more left-handed bats in his lineup tonight. Now, he was going to have a cool bull, but he hurt his neck and was a scratch, a little bit of an ankle roll there for Parra as he rounds the bag.
He's staying in the game. After the 1-out single, it's Will Nieves batting now. Nieves was with the Rockies, claimed off waivers by the Diamondbacks from Colorado August 6th. He had been designated for assignment by Colorado. He's been in the big leagues with San Diego, the Yankees, the Nationals, the Brewers prior to Colorado. Miguel Montero is having another outstanding year. He bats left. He's on the bench tonight. And with Blanco on the disabled list. So Nieves gives Kirk Gibson a right-handed bat. Wade Miley's on deck. Runner goes, swinging a foul ball. And Parra went in head first at second, not knowing what was going on behind him. No balls, 2 strikes. 60 pitches for Dallas Keuchel. Washington leads the Mets 6-4. They're in the bottom of the 7th at Washington. Johan Santana gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings tonight up against Ross Detweiler. Michael Morse hit his 12th home run. That came off Santana, and it was a grand slam. Bryce Harper tacked on another long ball off Santana. That was his 11th. That was a 2-run shot. Kelly Shopik hit number 6 for the Mets.
Santana's post no-hitter ERA is not really good, is it?
No.
He's really struggled.
Big time. Hey, when we're in New York, JD, next week we'll be part of an experimental umpiring situation using technology on the fair and foul calls along the right and left field lines. There is going to be experimentation next week at both Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. And the Mets will be doing that for 2 series. The Astros being the second series there at Citi Field next week. And we're not sure whether it will be the Hawkeye system that's used in tennis and soccer using laser technology, or whether it's going to be some sort of a camera view, but it'll be one or the other when the Astros are there.
So are there 2 different systems that they're going to use?
Yeah, 2 different ones. I don't know if one's at Yankee Stadium and the other at Citi Field, or whether they'll swap in the middle of those homestands, or how that's going to work out. Liner over Tyler Green into left center field. And it'll be first to third as the throw goes into second for Parra on the Nieves hit. And with 1 out, Miley comes up.
Yeah, I think we should go to the tennis system with a guy sitting up in a lifeguard chair. I would like that system. I think that's the way to go.
You'd like to be
and he would just call out. That's a good pitch there. And just good hitting by Nieves to go down and get that changeup from Keuchel. Dallas has not been under a lot of pressure yet tonight. Is now in a little bit of a bind. First and third, 1 out, but he's got the pitcher up. Albeit a good hitting pitcher, one of the best in the league, and Wade Miley.
.239 average coming into this game with 11 hits and 46 at bats. He did ground out in the 3rd inning. And the Astros would settle for a ball right to shortstop or second base here.
Chris Young, the leadoff hitter, has power, so Kirk Gibson may take the bat out of Miley's hands here and just have him bunt to make sure Young gets an at bat in this inning.
Marwin Gonzalez plays it in tight. Runner going from first. The bunt's a good one, and here's a play. Nope, no play at the plate. And it's 1-0 Arizona as Parra's able to score on the bunt by Miley, giving Miley his 2nd run batted in and a 1-0 lead.
Really well executed there by the Diamondbacks. This is a play we see time and time again. First and third, 1 out, safety squeeze. You see the runner's not coming till the ball is down. So there's a little bit of a burden on the hitter to put down a decent bunt. But it's an easy play for the runner. He just follows the third baseman down the line. Even if it's not a good bunt, he can retreat to third base safely. And with the base runner from first moving, it takes away the play there and leaves Keuchel with just 1 option. So 1 run in, and then another man moves into scoring position.
Miley gets sacrifice number 6 and an RBI, his 2nd of the year. And it's Young with Nieves at second now. So 2 runners move up on the bunt. Young is 0 for 2. You know, we have seen that play an awful lot this year. I wonder why we hadn't seen that years ago, JD.
I don't know. I think it's just a lot of times you just see the pitcher up there putting down a straight sacrifice bunt to move 2 guys, you know, that second guy into scoring position.
I'm amazed that it took people in baseball that long to figure out that runner from third can score a high percentage of the time on a bunt like that.
I mean, it's not a new play. I mean, the safety squeeze has been around a long time and teams would use it, but it seems it's almost like the default play now in this situation.
It is.
It's just teams getting a little bit wiser and you know, if they got a halfway decent base runner down there at third base, there's very little risk, you know, because the third baseman's coming in to defend the bunt.
Exactly. The runner is schooled to stay just right behind the third baseman so he could beat him back to the bag.
Yeah. Unlike the suicide squeeze, if the ball's popped up on that safety squeeze, the guy can still scramble back to third.
Now 2-1 to Chris Young. Right about the power, though. Here's a leadoff guy who has far above average power. Hit 20 homers last year. He's hit as many as 32. He did that in 07.
Yeah, and so that play makes even more sense when you have a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark in the leadoff spot, because you know, you're thinking, well, worst case scenario is if I let my pitcher swing here and he grounds into a double play, I don't get a guy with legitimate pop to the plate.
Young puts it in the air to left field. Maxwell backing as far back as he can go. Now it comes off the wall and a run scores. Here's his throw into second, and the tag by Altuve not in time. 2-0 Arizona on an RBI double by Young. That's his 31st run batted in. It's double number 18 for Young.
Now we've seen Chris Young have some big games in this ballpark, and he almost knocked this one out of here. I think he thought he did, because that play was awfully close at second base. For a ball being as high as this was, in the air as long as it was, it should not have been this close at second. Well played there by Maxwell off the wall. And Young has to find a little bit of a burst there to beat the throw at second base. Here's the Chris Young fan club. Probably up there having a Woodlands High School versus Bel Air High School baseball debate.
Yeah,
between the Goldschmidts and the Youngs.
That's 5 runs batted in for him against the Astros this season. And nothing new for Young, .325 lifetime hitter against Houston coming into this game. Elmore is up next. He's 0 for 2. That's strike one. Elmore was a Double-A Mobile last year, hitting .270 with 3 homers, 41 runs batted in. Baltimore and Detroit are tied at 3, bottom of the 7th in Detroit. Cabrera hit his 31st, Fielder his 21st for the Tigers. Wieters number 17 for Baltimore. It's 1-1. Cincinnati leads Chicago 7-3. They've played 6 at Great American Ballpark. Ryan Ludwig belted his 23rd. Jay Bruce his 25th. Todd Frazier number 16. Buena number 4 for the Cubs. Reds have played a higher percentage for wins without Joey Votto than with him this year.
Boy, did they waste a lot of money signing him to that extension?
What a two.
And they had Todd Frazier. We're talking about Rookie of the Year. Frazier's.
He is.
A heck of a year.
He's in there. 70 pitches for Keuchel.
A home run for Jay Bruce, his 25th. He had really been slumping, but he's been hitting the ball out of the ballpark again here lately.
Streaky guy. But when he gets it going, he can light it up and stay on fire for a while. We've seen that. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Speaking of hot, how about Chipper Jones going deep again?
Tonight he did?
Yeah.
I know that.
A 3-1 Dodger lead over Atlanta. Ethiers hit a home run. Took it his 13th. He had 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
On his bobblehead day. Always seems to rise to the occasion on important days like bobblehead day.
Well, we have Jeff Bagwell bobblehead tomorrow night, right?
And we can get Baggy to pinch hit.
Yankees lead Boston 5-4, bottom of the 7th at Yankee Stadium. In tight for ball 3. It's a full count to Elmore. Well, that Boston situation's a real soap opera. Anderson hit his 31st tonight for the Yankees. Elmore grounds to second. Altuve to his left and on over to Pierce. And it's 2 runs, 3 hits and a man left for the D-backs. They lead it 2-0 in the 5th. third against Wade Miley. Gonzalez lined out to left in the second inning. Strike one to Marwin. And the switch hitter has struggled from this right-handed side of the plate this season.
Yeah, he swung the bat well from the left side, and recently really shown some pretty good pop from the left side. He's an intriguing guy.
Liner toward the right field line. Upton will not be able to make a catch, and Gonzalez heads for second as it's juggled. Here's the throw, and it's cut off. Opposite field double on the 0-2 count from Marwin Gonzalez. That's his 11th double.
And he just got a little more intriguing.
Yes, he did.
Slicing line drive toward the right field corner off the hip of Upton. He catches it cleanly with his arm. He would have had a shot at Marwin.
First extra base hit by the Astros in this game. Marwin was hitting 119 right-handed coming into this game. Now Keuchel is showing bunt. He got a hit in the second inning, his first major league hit after being 0 for 11. He has 3 sacrifice bunts. Taking that one for ball one. Chris Capuano pitching well for the Dodgers in Atlanta with a 3-1 lead. Braves up in the bottom of the 7th inning. Andre Ethier hit his 12th home run. Tommy Hanson out of the game after 6 2/3 for the Braves, with Chipper hitting his 13th.
What a lift Capuano has given the Dodgers this year.
He sure has. Hanley Ramirez was attracting some attention with some of his antics on the bases last night. A.J. Burnett got pretty peeved. The bunt goes foul with that gesture he makes, the wrestling type gesture. I see you.
Yeah, that's what Wilton got upset about when we were in Miami. The problem is all these teams have their own little gesture. You know,
yeah.
The Pirates have one. They do this kind of that inverted Z thing,
right?
You know, so if you're going to get mad at Hanley for doing his, then you can't be doing yours,
right?
It's all child's play, but it is what it is.
Keuchel strikes out. 1 out. Third strikeout. AT&T has trivia. Question du jour coming your way. Who is the only Astro to lead the team in average hits, runs, triples, runs batted in, steals, and walks in a single season?
It happened in 1984.
All right. I'm going to go with Jose Cruz.
Pretty good go.
But that may not be it. Altuve is 1 for 2 in this one. He's now 5 for 9 against the D-backs. There's strike one. Here's one that you probably know about. Make it ball one, JD. There have been 539 disabled list moves this year in Major League Baseball. 118 have gone on the 60-day disabled list. That's a 28% increase from last year. Wow. That is staggering. It's a 55% increase from 2 years ago. 1-1.
Am I to assume that about 2/3 of those are pitchers?
Yes. Boston has had 25 players on the disabled list this year. And they've used 48 players this season.
How about Toronto? The stat we had on them a while back, they've used 31 pitchers this year or something like that.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Well, as you've talked about this during this season, they've lost 3 of their starting rotation, 2 to elbow surgery, 1 an abdominal injury. Kansas City has lost 4 pitchers to Tommy John surgery this year. Toward the right field line, slicing out a play. 2-2. That's crazy. And yet there is the Cincinnati ball club with 5 starting pitchers all year.
Yeah. So is it random, or are they doing something different in Cincinnati?
Don't know.
I'm guessing it's random.
I think it's Cincinnati chili, which you refuse to try.
No, I've tried it.
Oh, okay.
I just refuse to endorse it.
Chopper toward Chris Johnson. He comes in bare hands and throws, but safe at first. Altuve Beating it out for an infield hit. Another multi-hit game. That's his 44th.
As he continues to track down Melky Cabrera in that category. Well played here by Johnson as the ball was kind of spinning away from him, but he was able to reach down with the bare hand and make a pretty good throw, but not all that close at first base.
Well, 7 hits for the Astros, 4 for Arizona. And it's Tyler Green. He singled in the first. He struck out in the third. 44th multi-hit game, second in the National League. I'm going to have to check and see if Melky Cabrera is the leader.
He is.
Oh, good.
He's got 52 or 3 of them.
Okay. Big at bat here for Green. Takes ball 1.
Yeah, got to push one through here.
Our third one out. One would be acceptable. The Milkman has 52 multi-hit games, now serving a 50-game suspension. And there have been stories. Well, that was why they traded for Hunter Pence. They knew that he was going to get this.
Apparently they made a run on Alfonso Soriano, and Soriano wouldn't agree to go to San Francisco. Yeah, but that's one of the stories that's out there, that the Giants, although they weren't notified by MLB, when a player is suspended like that, it's the player and the agent find out about it. The club does not, but apparently there was a lot of buzz in San Francisco in late July that something was going on with Cabrera.
Apparently the test in July brought some questionable results, and that created that buzz.
Yeah, a reporter actually asked Cabrera about it, so the rumors were out there in late July. When asked by the reporter, Cabrera denied it.
He is headed for free agency after the season. The dollars are shrinking for him now after this. 1-2. Somebody will take a flyer.
Oh gosh, yeah. Still a good player.
White Sox lead 2-1 at Kansas City. Paul Konerko has returned. He was out with a concussion. He hit his 19th. Chris Sale's on the mound. That's usually a devastating combination for White Sox opponents.
Jay Happ dialed up a good one tonight for Toronto.
What did he do?
6 innings of 2 hit, 1-run baseball. It's a 3-2 Toronto lead over the Rangers in the late innings in Toronto.
Well, he beat the Yankees in his last start. That's 2 consecutive starts against hard-hitting clubs. Now back. It took him a while to get into their rotation too. Still 1-2. So, you know, you look back at the guys the Astros have traded. Wandy has struggled somewhat with the Pirates. He hasn't been horrible, but he certainly hasn't been winning games for them. And I really think all the guys the Astros have traded have done well, which the Astros want. And you might say, well, why would they want that? Well, because if they want to make deals with these teams again, it's helpful if the players who were traded did well after those trades. It makes it a little more agreeable to go back the next time and say, okay, we matched up well last time. Our prospects are doing well. Your players perform. Let's talk about another deal. Because sometimes a GM, you know, if the reports are out there, the media is all over a bad trade, and well, they got swindled on this and that and the other thing, they'll shy away from dealing with that club again sometimes. Happy birthday for Tyler Green. 29. Well, he already has 1 knock on his birthday. How about an RBI?
Yeah, that'll work.
Born in Fort Lauderdale, went to Georgia Tech. He takes 2-2.
Yeah, and I think, you know, GMs for the most part will tell you that they just want to, want the deal to work for both clubs, but you have to take some measure of satisfaction if you really pull off a good deal. You know, if you give up a couple middling prospects for a guy that turns out to be a stud, I mean, publicly you don't say it, but privately you're like, yeah, look at me, I outsmarted everybody.
Sure. And this Jeff Luhnow spate of trading here throughout July really required a lot of research on these minor league prospects. The players the Astros traded, of course, were well known to everybody. But until a guy gets to the big leagues, there are those reports, there are scouting reports, and players haven't hit the limelight yet, so that is extremely important information as input into a trade.
Well, coming right through the center there. We don't see that pattern very often, though.
Nobody's hitting the Charlie Weaver square.
Yeah, I don't know that the scouting report on Tyler Green is, hey, throw it right down the middle. On the corners, he'll wear you out, but if you throw it down the middle, he's vulnerable.
Well, let's see if he gets one more down the middle. He calls time and backs away.
Of course, those aren't all the same pitches. You know, one might be a big curveball that drops in there. Another one's a changeup. Miley, he's not afraid to throw strikes. That's why that walk count is so low.
Fly ball to center field. Marwin tagging. And both runners tag. The throw go into second, and it's a 2-1 ball game on the sacrifice fly on Tyler Green's birthday. He gets RBI number 21 of the year. Good job working the count full and then hitting the pitch to the good part of the ballpark for him to get the runner home.
And a smart play here by Chris Young, keeping that back runner out of scoring position.
AT&T had trivia for us. Now AT&T is going to have the answer. The only Astro to lead on all those categories, Jose Cruz, 1984.
One of 8 players to do that since 1961 to lead in all those categories. Andrew McCutcheon of the Pirates is doing it this year.
Ooh.
Rusty Staub did it with Montreal in 1970. Cheo, Robin Yount, Howard Johnson with the Mets in '89, Barry Bonds in '95 with the Giants, Derek Lee in '05 with the Cubs, and Nate McLouth in 2008 with Pittsburgh.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, how about that?
Now Pierce takes strike one. Pierce lined out to third and fly to center.
I'm guessing in 2009, Nate might not have led his club in any of those categories. He really dropped off in a hurry.
He did. He fell off a cliff. 1984 was a big year for Cheo. Average hits, runs, triples, homers, runs batted in, steals, and walks. Wow.
I'm guessing he was a club MVP that year.
Well, let's hope. You know, Altuve is leading in many departments this season. Certainly not in all of those, as you just saw. He's the club leader in many of these departments offensively. Rusty Staub led the Expos in steals.
How about that?
You've got to be kidding. Ground ball foul. No balls, 2 strikes.
This bears a little investigation, doesn't it?
It does.
Although Rusty was pretty studly in his younger days, wasn't he? Yeah, I think he was a pretty good athlete.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I thought he was one of those do-it-all kind of guys.
I didn't think he was
as a young man.
Anybody who was fast at all. Maybe he had the knack for knowing when a pitcher was vulnerable to the steal.
Grand Orange. Well, he stole 12 bases in 1970.
All right. That was enough.
Expos apparently didn't do a lot of running. He was caught 11 times.
Oh, boy. Stop, Rusty.
By golly, I'm going to be part of a trivia question someday. I've got to lead this club in stolen bases.
Altuve is leading the Astros currently in runs, in total bases, in doubles, and in triples. Total bases, that's the one that might get people's attention. Little defensive swing, and Miley almost took too much time, but he had the time to get Pierce. The Astros settle for a run on 2 hits and leave a man. It's 2-1 Zona after 5.
Get the All-American Jack Combo for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. Buy the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. And buy the motion picture Premium Rush in theaters August 24th. As the sun sets in Houston, inside, it's a closer game now. 2-1. The Astros are down by a run. As the activity moves to 6th, here again upstairs, Bill Brown and Jim DeShays.
Hey, Greg, did you retweet that remark about the Phillies leading in Montreal tonight?
Yeah. I think. Oh, yeah, in Montreal, right. That was me. I didn't say it.
That's
An
beautiful.
unknown Nationals announcer, of all people, said.
Phillies are leading in Montreal tonight. Aaron Hill's 1 for 2. Oh, well, we all do that.
Oh, yeah, they're in Milwaukee.
Okay.
He looked at the out-of-town scoreboard, saw the M and the L, and just had a brain cramp. It's August. It happens.
It is August. It happens to everybody in August. Without fail. That one will go foul. No balls, 2 strikes to Aaron Hill.
The home plate umpire tonight is Kerwin Danley. He was a teammate of Tony Gwynn's at San Diego State back in the day. And he was actually umpiring first base when Tony Gwynn got his 3,000th hit.
Oh, nice. Fortunately, it didn't have to be a close call, right?
Yeah.
That could have been tough for Kerwin.
The Fox Tracks tonight brought to you by TxDOT. Drink, drive, go to jail.
No balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers leading 3-1 after 7 in Atlanta. And the Dodgers were just hopping mad last night that Kemp got tossed out of that game by home plate umpire Angel Campos for shouting something encouraging to a teammate, he said.
Well, they had been barking.
Yeah.
They were riled up, and Campos told them to knock it off. And that happens from time to time. Then Kemp said, he said something about Ethier. Come on, Dre, or something like that. That's his story anyway. And Campos just heard noise coming from the dugout and had enough and kicked him out.
Don Mattingly was red hot about that. Hey, it's August. Good races going. Tempers flaring. Out to center field. Barnes waiting.
That's an umpire in that role is like a parent, right? When it gives you the I don't want to hear another word out of you. The word could be just the most innocuous. It could be a compliment. But I told you not another word. You're gone.
Yeah, you're right. Every family's been tested by a kid after a remark like that. Goldschmidt has struck out and he's bounced into a double play. Steve Sparks had a good story tonight. We were talking on the field before the game about Goldschmidt giving Wade Miley some advice. There's a strike. They were coming to the ballpark together earlier this year, and they had competed against each other in college. Goldschmidt gave Miley some advice on his pitching. That one almost clipped him. It's 1-1. And yeah, Sparky said that he read a story that Goldschmidt said to Miley, "You don't throw your slider as hard as you threw it in college." Really? Yeah, you don't throw it as hard. And so he started throwing it harder this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Toronto leads Texas 3-2. They're in the top of the 9th in Toronto. Encarnacion hit number 31. He has been crazy good in Toronto this year.
Yeah, that team probably more than any has been affected by injuries. The rotation, Batista.
Yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Keitel's thrown 83 pitches, 55 for strikes.
Back-to-back quality starts coming into this one, and another solid effort here tonight. So Keuchel getting things pointed in the right direction. After going through a real rough patch, ERA above 10 in the month of July.
He strikes out Goldschmidt. That's number 3.
The elevated fastball up above the belt. Goldschmidt a little tardy.
Keuchel's ERA at home 3.27 coming into this game. His strikeout to walk ratio 2-to-1 in home games. Upton walked in the second and hit a fly ball to center in the fourth. Keuchel in this game has walked 1 and fanned 3. One hopper to Marwin. It's a quick sixth. It's 2-1 Arizona in the middle of the sixth.
For the You Make the Call Radio Apprentice Contest has ended, but you can still participate. Vote online for your favorite contestants after their auditions during this series. Fans' online votes, along with the judges, will determine the Astros' first radio apprentice. Go to Astros.com beginning August 21st to cast your vote. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. Justin Maxwell ready to go. 2-1 Arizona. There's ball one. Bottom of the sixth underway. Maxwell singled in the first inning and hit a fly ball to center in the third. Good to have Brad Ausmus here with us tonight. He threw out the first pitch. Flashback Friday. And Brad Mills was asked in his pregame meeting with the media, did you ever manage Brad Ausmus? He said, yes, I did. I managed him at Colorado Springs in '93, and I had to tell him that he was traded to San Diego that year. And he said it was a very strange situation as it evolved. I got a call from Bob Gebhardt, the Rockies general manager. And he said, well, we've traded Andy Ashby and Brad Ausmus and Doug Bachler to San Diego, so you've got to get them out of this lineup. Well, Andy Ashby was his starting pitcher. This was 5 minutes before game time. Brad Ausmus was his starting catcher, and Doug Bachler was his closer. So he had to tell those guys they were traded. And he also had to ask for a delay in the start of the game so he could get another starter ready to pitch.
Thanks for the heads up, Gebby.
Maxwell takes 3-2, and somebody said, well, was that a problem getting this delay from the other team? He said, not really, because in the minor leagues people understand
the nature of the business. Brad originally signed by the Yankees, was taken by the Rockies in the expansion draft before being traded over to San Diego.
Line shot. Oh! Off the glove of the shortstop, Elmore. On through into left center field. That ball was smoked by Maxwell. But still surprising that Elmore didn't catch it.
Third consecutive inning and the fourth time tonight the Astros have had the leadoff man reach. Fastball cutting back over the heart of the plate, down a little bit. Maxwell drops the head on it, hits a screamer. Elmore was able to put it away. Looking at his glove as if he expected to see a big hole through it.
Put on the black hat and glasses for that one. That's his first error. And, Jake Elmore draws that error. Here's Francisco taking ball one. Francisco bunted for a hit in the fourth. It's 1 for 2. Now, if he starts doing that dance that the Blues Brothers did, we'll know something weird's going on. Line foul. Oh, goodness. 1-1. Washington beat the Mets 6-4. Ross Detweiler winning. He's 7-5. Johan Santana losing. He's 6-9. Tyler Clippard got saved, number 26. Harper and Morse going deep for the Nats. Shopik took one out for the Mets. And more people weighing in on the Strasburg-o-meter. I don't know if you saw some of the shows last night, but Tommy John came out in favor of letting him pitch. And yeah,
sure, because he gets a kickback every time somebody gets Tommy John surgery.
So more and more folks are weighing in. Tom Glavine said, well, just shut him down now for 3 weeks or whatever, and then you'll have him for the postseason. It's just really interesting to hear the comments.
Poor Mike Rizzo.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do what was best for the kid. And he's been getting hammered. Now, the Strasburg conversation has been going on for about 2 months. I mean, it's never ending. And he just keeps saying, I'm going to shut him down. And everybody keeps saying, no, you shouldn't. But it's going to be interesting to see if the ownership group starts to put pressure on Rizzo. I mean, we already heard Strasburg's father has questioned their strategy.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I mean, to me, right, wrong, or otherwise, it's a real gutsy stance that Rizzo has taken.
It is.
And you've seen that move right there called the balk at times this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Bob Davidson would have had him. Angel would have gotten him.
He didn't really step directly toward first. Howard let him do it. That is a direct step there. But the last one, questionable. Nieves has thrown out 1 of 17. Maxwell with 5 steals and 7 attempts. Oh, they got him. Goldschmidt to Hill. And back to the pitcher. And Miley then throws. And there's the tag by Elmore. So Elmore puts the tag getting Maxwell after allowing him to reach on an error. And it's out number 1.
Man, he wasn't even going. A lot of times in this play, you see the runner's going on first move, and he gets hung up. That time, he just got picked. He thought Miley was going home, was taking his secondary lead when Miley came over to first base with the throw. He made him earn it. He stayed in that rundown a good long while, but ultimately the Diamondbacks got their man.
1-3-4-1-6. 2 balls and a strike to Francisco. In the air, and the right fielder Upton heads for it. Hill is out. Upton handles it, 2 outs. Bart.
Thanks, Bill. Want to remind Astros fans one more time that Chevy is proud to present Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. So join host Emily Rippert each Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Houston, or go to hometownkids.tv for more information. Back to you.
Thanks, Bart. 2 outs, and it's Brandon Barnes. He's 0 for 2. That first major league home run he hit at Wrigley Field. Of course, a memorable moment for everybody in his family, a lot of fans. He got the baseball. We thought that was really terrific, and now Stretch Suba's going to help him make it into something that's mounted on a plaque for display in his home.
Astros only run that night as they were being shut down by Jeff Samardzija. Samardzija was really pitching well. And Brandon able to step up there and take him deep. What a big thrill.
Castro's on deck. In the dirt for ball 1. In that Jay Happ win that JD mentioned, it was 3-2. Toronto beating Texas in Toronto. Happ going to 9-10. He beat Yu Darvish, who's 12-9. Casey Jansen got save number 16. Happ allowed 2 hits and 1 run in 6 innings.
Pretty solid stuff for Jay. Boy, you wish him well. He's a good guy.
Really is. He walked 1 and fanned 8 against that hard-hitting Ranger lineup. He put the collar on Kinsler, Andrews, Hamilton. None of them got a hit. Liner over shortstop into left center field. And Barnes is 1 for 3. The Astros keep collecting the base hits. That's 8 for them.
Barnes, a pretty successful base stealer during his minor league career. Again, tough to run on Miley. He's allowed just 1 this year. There are only 5 tries against him coming into play tonight. But it's this situation where you might take a shot at trying to steal a bag. 2 outs. Castro up there hitting from the left side. Left-handed hitters haven't done much against Miley this year. If you'd steal a bag and Jason kind of punch a single somewhere, tie this ball game.
There's a step off and the look over to first as Miley varies the ways that he can deal with base runners. And he has really not suffered from pitching from the stretch this year. Fernando Rodriguez warming up for the Astros. Batting average against Miley with men on base is .224. Bronson Arroyo and the Reds knocked off the Cubs in Cincinnati 7-3. Travis Wood, the former Red, took the loss for the Cubbies. Castro takes ball 1. Phil Hughes and the Yankees top Boston 6-4. Hughes going to 12-10. He beat Franklin Morales, who's 3-4. Rafael Soriano picking up save number 30. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm talking earlier about Strasburg and injuries and things of that nature. Mark Pryor is trying to make a comeback with the Red Sox. He's just been released from their AAA Pawtucket club. They made a deal with the Mets for Pedro Beato. And they needed room on their AAA roster. So Pryor, at the age of 31, has been released. He was 1-0 with a .396 ERA, but he'd walked 23 in 25 innings.
Okay.
I remember hearing a story about him earlier this year. He was really throwing the ball well. Looked like he may make it back to the big leagues.
That's probably not his last chance then. You know, Miley does a pretty clever thing, JD, that a lot of left-handers do. When he makes that stride over to first, he then immediately steps off with his left foot too. I think it kind of camouflages for the umpire what he's doing. Not that that was a balk, it wasn't. But if you just kind of step toward first
walking,
base,
right.
follow
it. You're taught to keep walking.
I think it's a little tougher call for the ump that way. Pretty cagey in holding those runners, and the numbers you told us about speak to that.
Well, there was a time in the history of the world where left-handers were considered devious, sinister people.
When did that change, by the way?
I know, in some circles it hasn't.
Port Siders.
Yeah, I think it was with Sandy Koufax. I think he changed the whole image.
He's really working on Barnes with this count. One that would lead some clubs to think about sending the runner down to the final strike in an inning. Chances of scoring not at all good in this situation, so sometimes a manager will go ahead and take a risk with that base runner and send him. This one gets by the catcher. The strikeout wild pitch might work, and it does. And now the prospects just increased as Castro reaches on a strikeout. That's number 4 and a wild pitch.
Good off-speed pitch down in the dirt. Castro fooled by it. Nieves unable to corral it. The Astros catch a big break. Tying run moves into scoring position. Go ahead run on first base.
Charles Nagy goes out. The pitching coach talking about this situation. Gonzalez hit that double inside the right field line in the 5th inning and came around to score the Astros run. Earlier he lined out to left, so he's really caused the D-backs to think a little bit about this situation.
If you're thinking pinch hitter here, the only bats the Astros have are all left-handed except for Chris Snyder, the other catcher. Scott Moore's out on deck to hit for Keuchel.
Matt Albers warming up.
This guy has been awfully tough on left-handed hitters. So even though Gonzalez has struggled from the right side, this is probably the right play to let Marwin have this at bat, especially given that he doubled last time up.
Yeah. Miley's had 96 pitches, 66 have been strikes. Last time out, Miley threw only 68 pitches, but he lasted 4 1/3 innings. There's the native of this area, Matt Albers, back in the National League, having been with Baltimore and Boston for the last few years after coming up with Houston. Strike to Gonzalez.
Yeah, his family probably pumped up. He's back in the National League, but the Astros are leaving.
Went to San Jacinto Junior College, drafted by the Astros in 01. They traded him to Baltimore in that big Miguel Tejada deal after the 07 season. He's done pretty well in the setup role. 1 ball, 1 strike to Marwin Gonzalez. Getting the start at third base tonight. This is his 3rd start at that position.
Miley's been able to hold the Astros to just 1 run tonight, but not nearly as sharp as he was in that start against them over in the desert.
He was awfully strong in that one. Once it goes foul. 1-2 to Marwin.
He's only had 1 3-up, 3-down inning in this game. A lot of traffic that he's had to work around.
99 pitches now for Miley. D-backs at the end of May were 10.5 games out of the lead in the NL West. They were 23 and 28. So they've regrouped pretty well since then. And somebody asked Kirk Gibson in one of the articles about this series, JD, about, well, you know, most teams say that when they're in contention or trying to play catch up, they just try to win series. He said, well, that's right, but we need to do more than that. You know, we'd like to string together more wins than just 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. Go on a nice run.
Now, if they win 3 out of 4 the rest of the way, they're going to be just fine. I always liked Tony La Russa's approach.
What was his?
Tonight. He didn't talk about winning series. Let's just win tonight's game.
Well,
1 day at a time.
That's all you really have. It's 1 day at a time. Now they have a 10-game
win the series argument is always good after you lose the first game of the series.
Right,
that's where that comes in handy.
Yeah, it works.
And if you win the first 2 and then lose, then you justify by saying, we won the series. Which is fine. It's really the focus in baseball is always just today's game.
Sure. 2-2 pitch, and that's a strikeout to end it in the 6th for Miley. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error. 2 men left after 6, 2-1 Arizona.
Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. It was on August 17, 2002, that Jose Vizcaino led off the game with a homer. Went 5 for 5, driving in 2. The Astros then scored 5 in the ninth to take a 6-1 win over the Reds. What a historic moment, a big game for Jose Vizcaino. Brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center. Also on this day in 1937, Cards played the Reds. The game ended at 12:02. What's significant about that? First time in Major League Baseball history a game ended after midnight. It was not the last.
Oh, no, not at all. Chris Johnson leads it off, 2-1 Arizona. Looking at ball one.
Say that with a sense of foreboding.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking tonight.
Well, 2-1 game in the 7th inning. 2 balls, no strikes. We talked about teams maybe going off on a run. That, of course, is one thing that Kirk Gibson would dearly love to see his D-backs do. They go back home for a 10-game homestand with Miami, San Diego, and Cincinnati. Now, CJ has worked the count to 3-0 with Brad Ziegler warming up.
CJ has really struggled against left-handed pitching this year. 220-something coming into this game tonight.
It's up for ball 4. Time for a look at our Brown Hand Center. Great hands of the game tonight. And here's Chris Johnson with that diving play to his left. Getting up, getting the force out at second base. Francisco. Ball hit by Brandon Barnes back in the 4th inning after the bunt by Francisco. Now he's aboard with Parra the batter. Parra singled and scored in the 5th inning. He started that 2-run rally with a 1-out hit over third base. He's 1 for 2. Gonzalez in tight at third. Parra's a good butter. And he drags one. Keuchel over, drops it, and then rolls away from him. And that could be a big play. First and second, nobody out as Parra reaches and Johnson goes to second.
Astros really setting themselves up for disaster here in the 7th. Dallas in particular with a leadoff walk and now mishandling this bunt. It's a pretty good bunt by Parra, but Keuchel was quick to it, in position to make a play. Probably should have backhanded that ball. You see how he has his glove turned in a little bit of an awkward position. Couldn't get it cleanly. Not the easiest play in the world, but I think if he just backhands it, he's going to be in pretty good shape.
Now Brad Mills comes out to the mound. First and second, nobody out. Nieves will bat. .90 pitches for Keuchel. Nobody warming up at the moment for Houston. Pitcher spot will come up next.
So a conversation there on the mound. Probably more to talk to the infielders about how they're going to defend the bunt here. How aggressive he wants him to play to try to nail a lead runner. Miley's pitching a good game, but I think Kirk Gibson has to be prepared to pinch hit for him here. He's got a chance to blow this game open depending on this at bat here with Nieves.
Ziegler is working. The Astros playing it for a bunt here with Nieves 1 for 2. He singled to left center in the 5th inning. Around to bunt, he drops it down beautifully. Keuchel lets it go. Marwin Gonzalez plays it over to Altuve on the sacrifice from 5 to 4. Nieves advancing Johnson to third and Parra to second without number 1.
Well executed bunt play here by the Diamondbacks. No play but to first base, second and third. Big opportunity now, and they're going to hit for Miley. How did they ultimately score the Parra play? Sacrifice?
Scored in an error. No sacrifice.
Straight E1, huh?
Straight error, yeah. Ryan Wheeler's going to pinch hit. Left-handed hitting third baseman. Who came up when the Astros were in Arizona. Made his major league debut against the Astros July 20th with a single off Reiner Cruz. He led the minors with 90 runs batted in and ranked 5th in hits at the time he was promoted.
Go ahead.
What are they going to do?
They're going to change that to a sacrifice ultimately.
Okay. So now the infield is in with 1 out. And Miley comes out after 6 innings, allowing 8 hits and 1 run. And he's in a position to get his 13th win of the year. Laced and caught by Altuve. Wow. Absolutely smoked for out number 2.
Take that. Hang with them right there, boy. That's payback for the Astros back in the first when Pierce lined out.
Yeah, it is.
A little smirk. This ball blistered by Wheeler. Good swing of the bat. Boom, boom. Infield in. Altuve with a great quick move to his left.
Yes. See that little footwork there. Quick feet. And now it's Young batting now with 2 outs in the inning. First base open. And Brad Mills comes out with a double switch in mind because the pitcher is leading off the bottom of the inning for Houston. And he has a chance to bring in a right-handed pitcher here to face Young, who had the RBI double in the 5th high off the wall off Keuchel. He's 1 for 3. 2-1 Arizona. Back in a moment. Of Dallas Keuchel, very competitive tonight, JD.
Yeah, indeed. Third solid start in a row for Keuchel. Ultimate story will not be told until this inning is over. He's responsible for those 2 runners out there in scoring position, but very competitive tonight for Keuchel against his tough D-back lineup. First major league hit as well. And he's hoping that Efrod can bail him out here and strand those 2 runners.
Here's what's strange about Efrod coming in tonight. He's had a week off since his last outing against Milwaukee with 1 hitless inning last Friday. Good numbers for Dallas, but those numbers might change as you indicated. It all depends on what Efrod does here against Young. Fred Wallace comes in at 3rd in the double switch. Marwin Gonzalez coming out of the game. And the pitcher going into the 8th spot. And Fernando's 1-8 with a 5.51 ERA.
So Wallace will lead off with a home run in the bottom of the 7th to tie the game after Fernando gets the Astros out of this jam.
That's a very nice plan, JD.
Hurt the bag. Chris Young has struggled mightily against right-handed pitching this year, hitting just 179. He has, however, hit 8 home runs of his 12 off right-handed pitching.
Really rare for Fernando Rodriguez to have an entire week without pitching. The way he has piled up appearances this year. 52 of them. Ball 1 upstairs. Young not chasing. .79, as JD mentioned, against right-handers. And he is 0 for 2 against Fernando Rodriguez. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris Young, quite a talent. 28 years old, drafted by the White Sox in 01, traded to Arizona in 05 for Javier Vasquez. Had a shoulder injury, crashing into a fence earlier this year, went on the DL. He was out of the gate quickly prior to that. They appeal at first. It's a check swing call. That makes it 2-1. Called by Paul Nauert. $19,223 the attendance. Chris Young is first team All-State at Bel Air High School. Hit 3 homers last year in the division series for Arizona. In the air, and Fernando Rodriguez going to catch it. Whoa, my! Very interesting play to end the top of the 7th. Just a little suspense, and he got it. Fair catch. 2-1 Arizona.
Arizona takes a 2-1 lead into the bottom of the 7th as the fans here complete their 7th inning stretch. We want to remind you to subscribe to MLB.tv today to take advantage of new low pricing and see every remaining Astros out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Astros.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, it's baseball everywhere. And that's a good thing, Brownie.
Absolutely, Bart. Fans enjoying the 7th inning stretch, singing deep in the heart of Texas. Nice ball game on a flashback Friday, and Brad Ziegler comes in. He has the 1-run lead. He brings a 5-1 record to the mound with a 2.47 ERA and 47 1/3 innings of work, JD.
Well, as I mentioned earlier with Miley tonight, he wasn't as sharp as he was in the desert, but I guess that is as equally as impressive because, you know, he really had to battle tonight. Maybe not as sharp, but still held the Astros to 1 run before turning it over to Ziegler here in the 7th.
Ziegler's 32 years old. He's from Pratt, Kansas. Red Wallace facing him.
He's one of those funky drop down guys.
Strike 1 to Wallace. Entered the game in the double switch. He's batting 9th. 289, 5 homers, 11 runs batted in for Wallace.
Normally, you would think of Ziegler as a guy that would come in against righties. Take a look at the numbers, see how he fares against left-handed hitters. When he's on his game, he's going to get a lot of ground balls.
Wallace tops one foul. Wallace hit a big home run center field in Chicago.
Yeah, left-handed hitters hitting just .214 against him. 9 hits and 48 at bats. None of those hits have left the ballpark.
Wallace has brought out the home run ball with 5 and 83 at bats this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's made some changes in his hitting. Ziegler has not allowed a homer to a right-handed hitter in 334 at bats. Realizing here that Wallace is not a right-handed hitter, but Altuve and Green are coming up next.
That means he hasn't allowed a home run this year.
Yeah, it was 2010, June 30th, 2010. Last time a right-handed hitter got him, and it was Ty Wigginton in Baltimore. 2-2 to Wallace.
Why are we even trying?
That's ripped into right field. That's a nice start as Wallace hit it sharply. And Altuve, who's 2 for 3, will challenge that theory himself. Jeff Luhnow was talking in the dining room about Altuve and how much he's improved this year. And of course, part of that is he's facing pitchers he has actually seen before this year now. Getting late into the season, his batting average up to .307. It's come up 2 points in this one. You might think about a bunt against a guy like Ziegler, but CJ's in on the grass to guard against that. And creeping in further, bouncer up the middle. And backhanded. Here's the toss to second. Oh, what a play by Aaron Hill. Looked like that ball might sneak through, and he flipped from the third base side of second back to Elmore for the force on Wallace. Now here comes Brad Mills.
Close play. Brad Mills out to dispute this one. Dana DeMuth out there, the crew chief at second base. It looked like Hill was fishing around for the bag, or the shortstop, Elmore rather. And the question was, did he get the bag before Wally got there? Let's see, Elmore feeling for the base, and I think they missed the call. I think Dana missed this one.
Yeah, looked like he had his foot above the base.
Elmore can't afford to take his eye off the ball. Well, on that angle, it looked like he maybe got it. Maybe he had the toe on the bag before Brett.
Yeah, he was moving his foot, so it's a difficult call.
Did he have the bag and the ball all at the same time?
Good call in this game. 6-4 force on Wallace. Altuve reaching. Green the batter. Green has provided the Astros' only run with a 5th inning sac fly on his 29th birthday. He's 1 for 2.
It was kind of obscuring our view too. Yeah, that angle there looked like he got it right.
Johnson stays even with a bag at third.
Well, Ziegler's an extreme ground ball pitcher. So you're always wary of the potential of the double play when he's out there. They weren't going to steal with Wallace, but certainly an option here with Altuve.
Yes, it is.
I would think he'd be looking to run.
Well, earlier we saw the figures on Nieves throwing out 1 of 17. Altuve has 25 steals and 32 attempts. And it takes Ziegler a while to release the baseball to home plate with that delivery of his. He's doing everything he can to keep Altuve close. Here are the vital stats. The Astros went 0 for 3 in base stealing in Arizona.
Much better running team at humidity. Just don't run, dry air. They don't run well. I don't know what it is.
With that release, it does take him a while to draw his arm back and then get it going toward the plate.
Yeah, he tried to be quick there. He tried to, hasten his delivery a little bit with his leg action, but the arm action is still relatively slow.
Ziegler was drafted by the Phillies in 03 and then bounced around. Arizona got him in a trade last year. Tell you what, he's using about every technique known to pitchers to try to keep Altuve from stealing a base here. 0-2.
Down and in action on that pitch.
That time he held the ball a long time. He's ahead in the count, so that's another technique.
Sometimes you'll put the stop sign on here because you're fearful of a pitch out.
Exactly.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Ziegler started his career with a 39-inning scoreless streak, and that was a major league record. Now there's a conversation at home plate with Green. There's a smile on Tyler Green's face after talking with Kerwin Danley. Ziegler transformed to a submarine-style pitcher after an arm injury. He was with Oakland for 3.5 years before Arizona got him in that trade. He'd been released by the Phillies. Interesting story. Chop slowly. Johnson over. Well, play it to second for the force out there on Altuve. And Ziegler did such a good job. He was able to get out number 2. And Altuve couldn't beat that throw to second base. Here it is.
Yeah, with that eye up, I thought maybe Altuve would be able to beat it. Aggressive play there by CJ, but it pays off as he keeps the tying run out of scoring position.
Now Steve Pearce 0 for 3. Green also has been a good base stealer in his career. Last year, Brad Ziegler made 2 appearances against the Astros. In one of those, he got 2 double plays in 2 innings.
With Ziegler and Zagorski, is this a record for Z's in the same bullpen?
It might
Probably.
be.
It has to at least tie the record, right?
Especially with the righty-lefty combination. Yeah.
Mike Bronco Zagorski, the only lefty in the Diamondback bullpen. Green, like Altuve, a threat to steal, and Ziegler's not going to take any chances.
Charles Nagy's pitchers are doing their work on the base runners.
And a lot of these step off, throw overs, and a lot of that is called from the bench. Most managers, if not all, control the running game. Not just pitch outs, but every little thing like that. Slide step.
Strike to Pearce. Kirk Gibson was Alan Trammell's bench coach in Detroit. Now they've turned the tables. Trammell is the bench coach for Gibson. Trammell says of Gibson, sometimes you wonder if 162 games a year is enough for him. Gibby lives to compete.
Manager of the year last year, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And those Tiger seasons under Trammell were tough. Steve Sparks can attest with the losses piling up. Gibson said that every day in grade school he'd go home for lunch. His dad would have lunch ready for him, and then they'd work on fundamentals in the backyard. They'd run football plays in the snow. So the competing started early in his family. And just a great wide receiver at Michigan State. You talk about a guy who was fast from home to first on a drag bunt. He was a streak. No balls, 2 strikes. Mike Morse hit a grand slam tonight in Washington's 6-4 win over New York. The Nationals are now 74-45. Sitting pretty. Young's in right center field.
All right. You're out of those. You only get 3 of those per inning.
It's really working.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty play. Been used too many times. His job is not to entertain, it's to win.
Pierce takes it. It's a ball, 1-2. Justin Maxwell on deck.
But there does get to be a point where all the attention you're paying to the base runner, the stepping off, things of that nature can upset the rhythm of the pitcher and really hurt your chances out there on the bump. That's when manager has to kind of walk that line between holding base runners and being competitive with the man at the plate.
And it's really not so much the pitcher's choice anymore, is it?
No, like I said, most, pitcher always has the freedom, I think, at least to my knowledge, unless it's changed, to go over there when he wants to. But a lot of times when it goes over, it's being called from the bench. So a lot of guys don't go over unless they're told. It's just, they don't want to deal with that part of the game. I'll just pitch. And a lot of them don't even want, whatever the catcher puts down, they're going to throw. They don't want to handle any of the thinking part of it. I'll just throw when I'm told to throw, go over when I'm told to go over. And Ziegler's like, keep an eye on him, because I'm watching him good, and you watch him too. Because even though I'm going over there, he still might try to steal.
I'm watching you, watching him. Swing and a miss, and Ziegler gets a strikeout on Pierce to end the 7th inning. No runs a hit and a man stranded after 7. Arizona 2, Houston 1.
September 3rd by AT&T, Rethink Possible. And by Burger King. Come play family food where every game piece has a prize. There's a study, speaking of food, that was tweeted by Ben Mahler that says athletes should eat strawberries, kiwi, bell peppers for peak performance. And one of our loyal Astro Twitter fans, Chris Perry, says somebody should have told Melky Cabrera that.
Ooh, where's the protein in that diet, Greg?
Well, protein's actually included later, but
okay,
it does include kiwi, bell peppers, and strawberries.
Fernando Rodriguez beginning the 8th inning. Elmore, Hill, and Goldschmidt due to bat for Arizona. Jake Elmore is 0 for 3. Reached on an error in the 1st inning. Dallas Keuchel went 6 2/3, allowing 4 hits, 2 runs, walking 2, fanning 3.
I really wish I had my headset on. I just caught the tail end of this kiwi strawberry conversation. I think I missed something good.
Well, we'll get Greg to repeat that for you.
Kiwis, bell peppers, and strawberries are good for peak athletic performance, according to a report out of Toronto. Now, there's some other stuff, too.
Oh, okay.
And one of our Twitter folks wrote back saying Melky Cabrera should have heard about that.
J.D. used that diet when he was the pitcher.
A lot of kiwis.
Well, that was game day meal for J.D.
Kiwi smoothie?
Fastball works for strike 2 to Elmore.
What do they know in Toronto? Their bacon's not even normal.
David Hernandez is warming up for the D-backs. Giants 1, Padres nothing after 2 in San Diego. Marco Scutaro hit his 6th homer.
Marco's been pretty darn good for them.
Has he?
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Ryan Dempster's going to miss a start. He was scheduled to pitch this weekend, but for personal reasons, he will be skipped. And Roy Oswalt will start. That's tomorrow up in Toronto.
Interesting.
No details, just his personal reasons.
High to left field. Maxwell running along that track right in front of the big wall. That's out number 1. Fernando Rodriguez came in, got a big out on Young with that pop-up that he caught to end the top of the 7th inning. And now he gets Elmore with Hill following. Hill 1 for 3. Quite a race in the NL West with Arizona 3rd. And San Francisco is a half game behind Los Angeles for the lead. Giants are going with Matt Cain tonight in San Diego. And he's been sort of ordinary since the perfect game against the Astros. 2 hitless innings from Matt so far tonight. And there's the race.
Wild, wild west. It's going to be fun to follow that one.
I bet.
Especially with the historical rivalry between the Dodgers and the Giants.
Cain is 3-3 with a 4.18 ERA in the last 10 starts. Line shot left field. Maxwell back, playing it off the base of the wall. Now it kicks by him, and that's an easy double for Hill. Hill gets a 2-base hit to make him 2 for 4 tonight. 29th double for Hill.
One more hit is high enough but not far enough to get out of here. Hill hits it plenty hard enough but not high enough. Stays in the park. And Karen kicks past Maxwell, and it's a 1-out double for Aaron Hill.
Well, this ballpark can take some outs away over in that area for a pitcher. Goldschmidt is 0 for 3. Ross Ohlendorf is pitching for the Padres. Giants have just scored 2 more, batting in the top of the 3rd. That's ball 1 for Fernando.
Been a tough night so far for Goldschmidt, coming back home to play the Astros. He's struck out twice and grounded into a double play.
Miami 6, Colorado 5. They're in the bottom of the 6th at Coors Field. Giancarlo Stanton hit his 23rd. Jose Reyes his 9th. Blocked by Castro. 2 balls, no strikes.
Marco Scutaro is hitting .320 with the Giants. A .788 OPS.
That's helpful. Pittsburgh 2, St. Louis 1, bottom of the 8th in St. Louis. Jason Grilli in the game for the Pirates.
Well, they got a good one from James McDonald tonight. He had been scuffling.
Yes. Detroit down Baltimore 5-3. Joaquin Benoit getting the win. Jose Valverde save number 23. Fielder hit 2 to give him 22 home runs. Tigers are picking up the pace. That's ripped to left center field. J-Max will watch it fly over his head, go off the bullpen wall. Run number 3 on its way home. It's an RBI double. Goldschmidt produces his 64th run batted in. Hill scoring, and it's back-to-back 2-base hits for Arizona. 35 doubles for Goldschmidt.
Kind of ironic because Paul, as we mentioned at the start of the ball game, was wearing out lefties tonight, or this year, but tonight off Dallas Keuchel, he was nothing for 3 with the 2 strikeout double play night, and now off Fernando, he picks on that fastball and smokes it.
Hit number 6 for Arizona. 3 have been doubles. Justin Upton is 0 for 2 with a walk. Diamondback ownership made it clear before the trade deadline that Upton was not going anywhere, despite rumors to the contrary. There's strike one.
A couple weeks ago, he and his brother BJ hit their 100th career home runs on the same night, just like 45 minutes apart.
That's crazy. Upton will turn 25 in 8 more days.
For the record, Justin was first, I believe.
Well, they're both multi-talented guys. No balls, 2 strikes. Justin was the first player drafted in the fertile 05 draft. BJ was the 23rd player drafted 3 years earlier. Justin had some left thumb problems earlier this year. That was way back in April. Numbers were a little soft. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good looking pitch for Fernando.
Kerwin has been consistent, but he's been consistently wrong. That's a strike.
Yeah. Maxwell, Francisco, and Barnes are due up in the Houston 8th. Goldschmidt taking some liberties there off second base. It's a foul pop. Pierce coming over and tries to get there and drapes himself over the railing. Good effort. Teammates are needed on a play like that.
Just not long enough.
Upton last year hit 31 homers. He has 9 right now. He drove in 88 last year. He has 46 now. Runner takes off for third, and he makes it easily. There's a strikeout of Upton, while Goldschmidt steals third on out number 2. That's his 12th steal of the year.
Ball in the dirt, but Castro able to keep it in front. Obviously not going to stop Goldschmidt from getting third there, but if that gets by him, kicks around behind home plate, he might come all the way around to score. And Fernando is awfully slow to home plate, so you can understand why Goldschmidt was thinking about stealing that bag. If he could have gotten there prior to strike 3, we're an opportunity for Upton to drive him in with something other than a base hit.
Johnson is 0 for 2 with a walk. 0-1 to Chris.
CJ had gotten off to that torrid start when he first joined the Diamondbacks, but he's fallen off quite a bit here lately.
That's emblematic of his career. A lot of streaks. Xavier Cedeno warming up for the Astros, a lefty. That's another ball, and it's a 2-0 count now to CJ. Now they're in the bottom of the 10th in Atlanta. Dodgers and Braves tied 3-3. Games this time of year really are engrossing for the fans with the races and time dwindling. Swing and a miss there.
This time of year where fans are really paying attention to the out-of-town scoreboard and taking a look at their team's schedule to see who remains. Do they have a difficult schedule or a fairly soft one? How many home games? Start to break it all down.
Diamondbacks haven't won a series yet. In August they won a series when they swept the Dodgers on the road July 30th through August 1st. But they've beaten the Astros 6 times in a row. Swing and a miss at a curveball. That makes it 2-2.
He had a better chance of hitting that one on the bounce.
23 pitches for Fernando Rodriguez.
I wonder what the record is for the shortest pitch in relationship to home plate that has induced a swing. That one might be in the top 10.
Come back with a curve, and it's fouled.
Now, this is where you want to go. You want to go a little more quickly. You got a guy that just swung at a 55-footer. You know his head's spinning. He's got all kinds of things going through his mind. But get back up there and let it fly.
Ryan Braun's hit another homer tonight for Milwaukee. His 32nd. He hit 2 last night. Brewers lead the Phillies 6-1 in the bottom of the 8th. That one bounces again. Blocked by Castro, so the Astros flirt with trouble, but as long as the catcher can do what Castro did, they can keep that run from scoring.
CJ, an aggressive swinger, doesn't walk much, so you're going to try to get him to chase in that situation, and you have to have confidence in your catcher to be able to knock that ball down. Fernando has 2 chase pitches, curveball in the dirt, fastball way up.
Fastball up works. Their strikeout number 2 in a row, but it's 1 run, 2 hits, and a man stranded at third for Arizona. The Diamondbacks lead it 3-1. .12:30 airtime for Ian Kennedy, a 21-game winner last year. He's 10-10 this season. Armando Galarraga will try for his first win in an Astros uniform. He's 0-3. That's the matchup. Astros live Sunday at 12:30. Tomorrow night at 5:30. Pitcher number 3 is in the game. David Hernandez coming in with a 3-1 lead for Arizona. Brad Ziegler worked 1 inning, allowing 1 hit, no runs with no walks, and he struck out 1.
Hernandez, a power pitcher. As you can see with those strikeouts, 74 in 51 innings, allowing just a 178 batting average. Pretty solid stuff for Hernandez, who sets up J.J. Putz.
Hernandez, 26 years old, from Sacramento, California.
What a putz.
Facing J-Max. Justin got a single in the first inning. He's 1 for 3. San Francisco on deck. Brandon Barnes due up third, and that's strike 1. Well, Putz has been on a pretty good roll lately. So the D-backs have to feel good when they get the ball in his hands. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. And Hernandez also, especially against right-handed hitters, he's limiting them to a 143 average. He's given up 2 earned runs in his last 15 2/3 innings. 2 balls, 1 strike. Last year, Hernandez had 11 saves, made 74 appearances, but he's been primarily a setup man. In fact, was a starting pitcher in 09 for the Orioles with 19 starts that year. Fastball gets him strike 2. Maxwell takes a little walk with a 2-2 count for Justin. He looks at ball 3, and it's a full count to Justin.
Kerwin Danley was a teammate of Tony Gwynn's at San Diego State. I'm guessing he was a position player, not a pitcher.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing he was rung up on a lot of borderline low fastballs in his collegiate career.
Okay. Foul back. Well, of course, Hernandez wants to get this leadoff man for a lot of reasons. He has a 2-run lead, doesn't want to walk him and bring the potential tying run to the plate. And he's been challenging Justin with fastballs.
Got a good curveball too, and once in a while he'll throw a changeup, but primarily it's fastball, curveball. Hernandez average velocity right around 95 miles an hour.
Diamondback relievers have an ERA of 3.45 this season. Ran in on the hands of Maxwell. He fouls it to stay in at 3 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, a team in contending position like Arizona right now gets to this point in the game, and this is really vital. This will be the 9th pitch coming.
Maxwell. You get leads late against a club struggling like the Astros. If you're in contention, you feel like you've got to put this one away. Really trying to hit spots as much as just letting it fly. And there's the curveball.
Ooh. And he lost him to a leadoff walk. Got away from the fastball.
If he had been able to drop that into the strike zone, they probably would have gotten him.
Yep.
Kind of locked him up, but couldn't bring it all the way back to the plate.
First walk of the game for Diamondback pitching. Francisco bunted for a single in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Elmore and Hill move into double play depth. Chris Johnson even with a base at 3rd. Parra over toward the edge of that wall in left center, and there's ball 1.
Average strikeout rate in Major League Baseball is 17-18%. This guy has struck out 35% of the men he's faced this year.
Impressive. Brian Bogusevic is on deck, getting ready to pinch hit for Brandon Barnes. The Astros leadoff man has been on base 6 times in 8 innings now. Astros left the bases loaded in the first when they had 1 out with 3 men on. That evens the count. It's 1-1. Diamondbacks lead after 8 innings. Their record this year is 54-3. In the bottom of the 8th, the Astros trying to rough up Hernandez and change the complexion of this game. He missed there, and it's 2-1 now. 3-1 ball game. The Diamondbacks when it was 0-0, got 2 in the 5th. They got 1 on a well-executed bunt by Miley, scoring Parra from 3rd, then Young with an RBI double. The Astros got a sac fly from Tyler Green in the 5th. Arizona playing add-on with back-to-back doubles in the 7th. Goldschmidt driving in the run. There's a line shot into center field by Francisco. He's 2 for 4. And if you're just joining us, you have joined an interesting ball game in the bottom of the 8th with 2 on and nobody out.
Good swing of the bat here by Francisco, jumping on that fastball from David Hernandez, and that's got everybody headed to the mound for a conference on that infield.
Now it is not going to be Bogusevic, but Barnes coming up. And in a possible bunt situation, he's 1 for 3. Bogusevic was in the on-deck circle, but with the Astros trailing by a couple, they might be asking Barnes to bunt these runners along. See how they play it with Castro.
That has to be the strategy, pulling Bogusevic back here.
Well, they talk it over, and Barnes gets set. He singled in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3.
Not easy to get a bunt down off a guy like Hernandez with that riding fastball.
You're right.
Certainly something you would expect a major league hitter to be able to accomplish, and this is a very critical point in this ball game.
Corner infielders are in tight, expecting a bunt here from Barnes. And he takes instead, ball 1. It's not a fastball. No career sacrifice bunts. He hasn't been here very long. Dodgers 3, Braves 3. They're in the bottom of the 11th now with Brandon League pitching for the Dodgers. Cleveland and Oakland scoreless after 3 in Oakland. And everything slowing down for the D-backs. Trying to get on the same page. Nieves has not been with them very much. Hasn't worked with this pitching staff. It's only his 2nd start with this ball club. Well, Miguel Montero signed a long-term deal. Really a valuable catcher for Arizona. Wilton Lopez is warming up for Houston. Bunted in the air, and here's Chris Johnson making the running catch. 1 out.
We talked about that riding fastball, tough to get down, and obviously the most important thing is not to try to bunt it. You get that fastball up around letter high, it's awfully tough to get that ball down on the ground. That's a lonely walk back to the dugout right there for a rookie, for a guy with just a little time in the big leagues to have to walk back past his manager to put his bat and helmet away after failing to get the sack down there.
Yeah. Bet it is. Jason Castro comes up. He's 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a double play ball. Reached on a strikeout wild pitch in the 6th inning. Now Bogusevic is on deck again, with the pitcher scheduled up next. And Lopez working in the bullpen. Ball 1 to Castro. It's Tampa Bay 2, the Angels 1. They've played 3 in Anaheim. Jay Weaver on the mound for the Angels. Well,
this would not be a bad time to try to hit this par 4 right off the tee.
Oh.
Go ahead. Put that hybrid back, pull out your driver, and go for it.
Wouldn't that light this place up if he could do that on this 2-0. And he hits it in the air to shallow left field. Parra coming over. There's Elmore getting out of the way. Parra with a catch. 2 outs. And now it'll be Bogusevic pinch hitting for the pitcher Rodriguez.
He got the driver out, but he just hit it down off the toe a little bit.
Yeah. Rodriguez leaving after 1 1/3 innings of work, allowing 2 hits, 1 run with no walks, striking out 2.
Frustrating night for the Astros in a season full of them. A lot of base runners tonight, but just one has crossed home plate.
Bogusevic 7 for 22, 3 runs batted in pinch hitting assignments.
Really think the Diamondbacks are out of timeouts. I'm not sure, but it seems to me like they're out of timeouts.
Slow moving 8th inning here as Nagy comes to the mound.
Well, Nagy out, I'm guessing with just a little refresher on Bogusevic. Not sure why all the infielders needed to come in for that.
Hernandez walked the leadoff man Maxwell. He gave up a hit to Francisco, but those 2 have stayed at first and second. Now there are 2 outs. Bogusevic the batter. Last Friday night he had the game-winning run batted in the 9th. How's that one for strike 1? That was a fun series for the Astros here last weekend.
Yeah, with the magic of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And make it happen again.
Well, these uniforms were worn from 94 through 99. The Astros never had a losing season in them. He got the driver out.
Well, he's a high rider. That one down. At mid-thigh. That's when Bogey can do some damage with.
Bogey was 3 for 7 in the series in Chicago, his hometown. And a breaking pitch gets a strikeout to end the threat for the Astros in the 8th. No runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. Moving to the 9th, 3-1 Arizona.
Progressive Insurance Group. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. The Astros have had their chances tonight. They've had the leadoff runner on in 6 innings. Only one of them they've been able to score. So now it's up to the pitching staff to keep the margin at least no worse than it is. Jordan Lopez on, Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies with the call.
Has been frustrating offensively. Here's Wilton with a 5-1 record, a 2.35 ERA. He also has had a few days off, like Fernando Rodriguez. He's pitching for the first time since Saturday night when he got the win.
Been in the right man at the right time several times this year with that 5-1 record. This could be another one. Post to 0 and see if the Astros can rally in the bottom half of the ninth.
He has gotten wins in each of his last 2 assignments, last Friday and Saturday night, in the flashback blue and gold uniforms. Gerardo Parra leads it off in the ninth. He's 1 for 3. Red Wallace in on the grass at third. Altuve, a sliding play, throwing from the knees. He has made some sparklers tonight. One pitch, one out for Wilton. Will Nieves is 1 for 2 with a sac bunt. J.J. Putz warming up for the bottom of the ninth. Stephen Drew is on deck. Pitcher spot due to come up next. Lopez delivers. There's strike 1 for Wilton. And the Astros have Wallace, Altuve, and Green due up in the last of the ninth inning. Some action on that pitch, but that takes it out of the zone and that makes it a 1-1 count. Buck Showalter and Mark Reynolds tossed out of the game for the Orioles tonight. It's 2-1, but that club is getting a good bit of experience in a playoff scenario this year. It's been the first time in a long time Baltimore's been in the hunt with a 64-54 record. 6 games behind the Yankees and in a tie for the wild card lead with Tampa Bay coming into games tonight. Crack bat roller. Tyler Green with the throw. 2 outs. Now it's going to be Stephen Drew pinch hitting for Hernandez. Hernandez in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, no runs. He had 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He labored through the 8th inning but got the key outs after the first 2 reached. Drew with a .206 average, 2 homers, has driven in 11. Playing time has been severely limited by injury this year. Took him a long time to get back from last year's injury, a fractured right ankle, July 21st, 2011. Fouls it back for strike 1. And he was activated June 27th from that disabled list. He's gone 2 for 20 in his last 6 games.
Pirates hung on and beat the Cardinals 2-1 in St. Louis tonight. First game of that weekend series, a big win for Pittsburgh.
Sure was, and a big loss for St. Louis too.
Cardinals have lost a bunch of 1-run games.
Now back, let's see, they are now 2 games behind Pittsburgh. Let's see what they are in the 1-run games.
McDonald beat Westbrook. Hanrahan with his 34th save.
He's having a year. Cardinals 12-21 in 1-run games. Drew takes a look at it. It's 2-2 now. Giants laid an 8 spot on the Padres in the 3rd inning. That'll give Matt Cain a ton of working room.
Remember when we last faced Cain, there was a stat on him when he allowed, or when his club scored, I think it was 3 runs or more, maybe 4 runs or more for him. He had a winning percentage up around 90. It was just, so pretty good chance he's going to make that 9-0 lead hold up.
Yeah. Gregor Blanco is playing left field tonight. That was Melky Cabrera's spot. Fly ball carries out to Justin Maxwell. Wilton Lopez puts up the 1-2-3 ninth, and now the Astros come up in the bottom half against J.J. Putz, trailing 3-1. By Miller Lite, the Astros tightening this ball game as they get a sac fly from Tyler Green in the 5th inning, scoring Marwin Gonzalez, who had doubled to lead off that frame. And the Astros have done a nice job of getting the leadoff man on. They did it in the 1st, they did it in the 4th, in the 5th, in the 6th on an error, again in the 7th and the 8th. Let's see what the bottom of the 9th will bring against the closer, J.J. Putz.
The big right-hander has worked 40 times this year. He's got a win and 4 losses, but 23 out of 26 saves with a 3.26 ERA. He's punched out 44 while walking just 8. Fastball and a cutter, but his secondary pitch is a split finger pitch. That's a put-away pitch for him. Started with the Mariners, then he was a Met and a White Sox before joining the Diamondbacks last year.
He did not pitch in the series against the Astros in Arizona. Last year he pitched 3 times against the Astros. Had 3 saves in 3 opportunities. And now it's Brett Wallace leading it off. He led off the 7th inning with a single to right. The Astros have stranded 10. Diamondbacks have left 6 in this 3-1 game. Putz delivers, and there's strike 1. 14 straight saves for J.J. Putz, 4th longest streak in the majors. 17 straight scoreless appearances, covering 16 2/3 innings. That's tied for the 4th longest active streak in the National League. It's 1-1. At one point, carrying over from last July 27th to April 12th this year, he had converted 28 straight saves. Last year he finished 3rd in the National League, saving 45 games and blew only 4. Wallace fouls it back. 1-2 to Brett. Cleveland got 4 in the top of the 4th at Oakland to take a 4-0 lead. Tampa Bay is ripping away with 7 in the 4th inning, still batting, leading the Angels 9-1. That Ray club is going off on a tear right now. That's happened a few times in the past. It's 2-2. They got Longoria back in the lineup after he missed months, and they have really put some things together. Wade Miley's 13th win of this season is on the line tonight. The Putz trying to nail it down. Wallace swings and misses.
Good splitter there. Just a tough pitch to lay off of. Looks good out of the hand. Looks like the fastball. And then the sharp downward break. It's every win. Miley breaks his own record for wins by a Diamondback rookie.
He's in a very good situation right now for possible Rookie of the Year honors.
And I think if he were to vote today, he'd have to be the guy.
Altuve is 2 for 4. Johnson even with the bag at third. That's ball 1. Since that day off, he's played 24 games and hit .368. Roller putts. 2 outs.
Pitcher's not going to let that ball get by.
Nope.
He was trying to recover a fumble or
it did.
Smother a grenade or something. Just throw his whole body at that one.
Now Scott Moore is pinch hitting for Tyler Green. Green was 1 for 3 with a sac fly.
And the ball got in on Altuve. Didn't get the barrel on it.
Moore's on a 5-game hitting streak. His average has climbed to .246. He has 7 homers, 19 runs batted in. He is 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter for the Astros this year. On Wednesday, he hit a homer going 2 for 4. And he's homered in each of his last 2 games. He had the game-winning RBI in the 10th last Saturday against Milwaukee. Taking ball 1. Scott was hitting .318 at Oklahoma City when he joined the Astros in late June. Now Green leaving the game, so apparently Brad Wallace would be the shortstop if the game went to extra innings. Martin Gonzalez, who had been double switched out of the game earlier, will be an option, but that's no longer the case. 1 ball, 1 strike. Steve Pearce is on deck. That makes it 1-2 to Scott Moore. Kansas City dumped the White Sox 4-2. Luis Mendoza won that one, beating Chris Sale. Foul back. Billy Butler hit his 25th home run tonight for the Royals. Giovanni Gallardo in Milwaukee stopped Philadelphia 6-2. Vance Worley. Gallardo a 12-game winner.
Good to know he beat somebody besides the Astros.
What's he won his last 10 starts against Houston?
Yeah.
2-2 to Moore. Tomorrow night, the usual 6:05 Saturday start time, matching Jordan Lyles and Patrick Corbin. Astros Live comes on the air at 5:30. Sunday at 1:05 start, 12:30 airtime for Astros Live. Armando Galarraga and Ian Kennedy. A little liner into center field. Well, Moore reached out with a 2-2 count and hit it right back over second base for a 2-out single to bring up Pearce now.
Well, nice job by Scott Moore. He saw how JJ was able to finish off Wallace with the split finger pitch, so he stays back nicely. This ball is drifting off the outside edge. Didn't have the good bite that the strikeout pitch to Wallace had. That one stayed up a little bit and more able to take advantage. Nice at bat off the bench.
It really was. Well, that's 11 hits for Houston. Steve Pearce is 0 for 4 tonight. Pearce takes, and it's strike one to Steve. Pearce is facing J.J. Putz for the first time. Justin Maxwell is waiting, hoping to get a chance here with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and the Astros down by 2. In the dirt. And here goes the runner to second. Scott Moore advancing on a wild pitch. It was blocked out in front, but too far in front for Nieves to get to it and make a play. Wild pitch by Putz.
That's one you got to make sure you can get. You're down 2 runs. You can't afford to get thrown out here, but it is an important 90 feet to get. It takes that force play away from the Diamondbacks at second base. So if you feel like you can get it, it's worth taking.
It was strike 2 with Pearce swinging at it. It's the 3rd wild pitch for J.J. Putz this year. And Pearce tops one foul, third base side. James McDonald won his 11th for the Pirates, 2-1 at St. Louis, beating Jake Westbrook. He's 12-9. The Buccos scored 2 in the 4th and rode that to their win.
The Cardinals managed to score just 1 run last night against the Diamondbacks. Tough to keep that lineup down.
Oh, it is. That's the ball to Pearce. That makes it 1-2 to Steve. The Diamondbacks have a record of 61-42 against the Astros since they began play against each other. Trying to make this their 7th straight win against Houston. And they're 23-15 at Minute Maid Park. Swing, and that's a strikeout to end it. So here in the 9th inning, the Astros get a man to second base, but the story of this game for them is that they left a lot of men on. They left 11 in the ball game, and Arizona made the pitches with those men on base to strand the runners and win it. Final score: Diamondbacks 3, Astros 1.